Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me. Yeah, why would you bet on Goliath when we got Bet David? Valuetainment, giving values contagious. This world of entrepreneurs, we get no value to hate it. How they run, homie, look what I become. I'm the one.
Okay, Home Team, episode 358. Lots of crazy stories and internal fight going on here that nobody knows about, but I'm going to leak it to you here in a minute. Obviously, the top issue that everybody is wondering, what is really going to happen with Iran and the U.S., the 3 troops killed by the drone strike? We'll react to that. There's a lot of different angles. There's some that are saying we got to attack Tehran immediately. There are some that are saying we got to hold up and not do anything because we're going to go into war. Who's right? Who's wrong? Who's contradicting who? One side is saying we shouldn't do it, or else the other side is saying, why were you celebrating when we attacked Qasem Soleimani? And you guys said that's the right thing to do. So what are we going to be doing here? We'll process that here together, and I'm sure we have different positions, and we'll process it together. Outside from that, the lady who is getting the $83 million, Rachel Maddow, if you haven't seen this clip, reacted and asked her, so what are you going to do with the money you're going to make? And honestly, the reaction doesn't make any sense when you see this video. It almost looks like it's out of a movie. Sincerely, it doesn't look real, and quite frankly, it doesn't look good for the side that's celebrating this. It's the most shallow way to celebrate a number like that, but we'll get into that on when that money's going to come out. One topic that I want to talk about as a parent is this issue with AI nudes, the fact that Taylor Swift is not happy with the AI nudes on X to the point where even Elon Musk is kind of blocked some of those pictures that are going out, the nudes that are being posted out there. Are there laws? I looked into it yesterday to see what states have laws. Do we have a federal law against AI nudes? You know, how does it work out? What are some of the numbers? It's happening more and more to kids. Should it be a crime? Should it be a felony? How should it be treated? Should people go to jail? What if the person's underage? These are a lot of good questions to ask. Obviously, we're not lawmakers. It's purely a discussion that we're having, but it's a discussion that a lot of parents are asking about. Workers are paying to get their paychecks early. And payday lending on steroids, deeply concerning. Another one of those things, which is like the buy now, pay later. We'll cover that. What else can I tell you? Biden giving chilling nuclear warning over attacking Iran after kamikaze drone kills troops. Some say that's strong. Some say that's concerning. We're going into war again with Iran. Some say we're already in war with Iran. We'll talk about the Texas border. First kind of a first of its kind campaign. This is according to NBC News. Fundraiser is being done in the works between Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Biden combined together. So they're really putting the super team together. It's a super team together to make sure Trump doesn't win. But it's Clinton, Obama, and Biden teaming up. And on top of that, Newsom's in South Carolina lobbying for Biden. And then Trump's team reached out to RFK. Apparently, this is a New York Post story about considering him for VP and the fact that they wouldn't write it off. And then some part of the camp are saying, no, it's not really true. We never did that. So we'll see what's going on there. Snoop Dogg comes out and praises a very weird candidate, which is
weird?
Snoop
Dogg.
Straight out of Compton. You know what he says, right? Now, he said Donald Trump. He's got nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. You've seen the roast, because Snoop was a part of the roast.
100%. Yeah.
It ain't the first time you kick a black man out of his house. Yeah. Remember when he said that?
Yeah.
So,
Snoop-a-loop.
Yeah, Snoop-a-loop. So we'll see what's going on. Steve Harvey had some things to say about Trump as well. 15 facts about E. Jean Carroll's case the media doesn't want you to know about. We'll see what those 15 facts are. A man pretending to be a trans woman raped a female prisoner at Rikers. Lawsuit says, very surprising, obviously. Another mega donor pauses donations to Nikki Haley unless a path to victory is seen. Big Pharma is at a crossroads as J&J, Merck, and others prepare to lose heaps of revenue from blockbuster drugs. By the way, it's not a couple $1 billion. It's a lot of money. When you hear what's going to happen here, somebody's writing a memoir that some of you guys may want to order on Amazon. You can pre-order it if you want it. I don't think you're able to pre-order it, but Ghislaine Maxwell is writing a memoir in prison to combat misinformation. How sweet is that?
Wow.
Right? To want to do that. What a sweetheart. Right?
What a nice demon.
You know, I mean, we'll see what's going to happen there. Super Bowl quarterback. You ready? Yeah. Brock Purdy made $870 this season. This stat is crazy. 16 college football players made more money than the starting quarterback that's taking the team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll cover some of those stats. Some of you guys listening to this make more money than Brock Purdy. Okay, which we respect.
And he made more money
you.
on my neck last month
than Brock Purdy. By the way, maybe actually, if you break it down
in the month, yeah,
you
probably.
may have made.
Thank you, everybody.
Made more money than Brock Purdy. Chilling AI predicts 8 events that could trigger World War III and kill millions. Obviously, a very inspirational story.
AI's in there too.
Falling inflation, rising growth, give U.S. the world's best recovery. WAPO says we'll cover that. And then Musk hires 100 content moderators in Austin by the end of the year. Obviously, a lot of this has to do with fighting off, different things that's going on. And advertisers. Jamie Dimon said a few things about the economy. There's just a lot of things that we want to talk about today. Hopefully we'll get through all of them. And Nancy Pelosi was pissed off at some of the people that are, saying certain things. Ludacris dedicated a song to Nikki Haley.
Oh, yeah?
It's his favorite song. Move.
Bitch.
Yeah. And
that's my neighbor.
Vinny. Who?
Luda.
Luda's your
He
neighbor?
lives 2 doors down with his mom. I swear. I worked out with him and his 2 kids the other day.
Cadillac. Does he have like Cadillac? This is...
Cadillac grills, Cadillac.
Area code. He's the area code.
And you mentioned Elon Musk. The Neuralink yesterday was the first.
Somebody tried it.
Somebody's hooked up to the machine.
Well, maybe we'll talk to you if you're open to the idea that we send like a project and we record what happens to you.
I would do
Next
it.
thing you know, 99% of the stories you do.
For valuetainment, I would for us, I would get Neuralink.
You would do Neuralink.
Yeah, and speak Spanish, French.
By the way,
fluent.
You wouldn't take one of those
Did
little...
you see what Joy Reid said on a hot mic? Did you actually hear that?
I love it.
Okay, it's the point.
Hot route.
Okay, we'll hot route. Hot route.
Could you
Go.
stand over there?
Just go, please.
Wedding crashers, if you guys are those.
We should do a little wedding
will.
crasher.
Russia and China rush to defend ally Iran as U.S. prepares response. Okay, all right. So God willing, we'll get through half of these stories, but there's a lot of things going on. One thing I do want to tell you guys, something very weird happened last night. So there's this war going on within Vitamin. Typically, we don't want to leak wars because, it's controversy and issues and people don't need to know the real truth about internal wars that's going on.
Joy Reid was talking about us.
But there's a war going on between a Canadian and a Israeli Jew, okay?
American Jew. Proud American.
Potato, whatever.
And the war is, we've never had a person with 1,000 Menects, okay, ever. That's never happened. Rob, it's so bad right now with Menect between Adam and Tom. This is where they're at, okay? Tom is at 937 Menects. Adam is at 964. Adam last week quietly lowers his Menect to $10.
Wow, that's a steal.
It's a total steal.
Well, I announced it on Soscast as a birthday.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
And I love it. And happy early birthday to you.
Thank you.
So what does Tom do? Tom takes the lead and goes to also $10. Tom's at 900.
Tom, you went down to 10 as well?
Can I say these numbers here?
Unbelievable.
Tom is at 937 Menects. Adam's at 964. One of them will be the first 2,000. But here's what Tom said.
What?
Tom in his profile, Rob, is there any way you can find? You can do it on the website. If you go to Menect and you look at Tom's profile, here's what Tom said. I'm going to send you the screenshot. I think people need to
What
see
did
this.
Tom do now?
No, you just have to see what he puts there. Rob, if you just show this clip here.
I had no idea Tom is Canadian.
For those of you that have been Menecting, you can't find it there. But Rob, I just sent this picture to you. Show this to the audience. I think it's important for people to see what's going on here. And by the way, Menect is about to cross 200,000 downloads. It's on fire.
That's
no joke.
Sick.
It's on fire. What's going on with Menect? A bunch of people doing Menect for it. Last week, we had 570 people that bought a Menect individually. 570 different people that bought a Menect individually with others. Pull up this Tom's profile. Right now, if you can show this guy's in the back. Look what Tom says.
What?
He says, if I beat Adam to 1,000, Vinny gets $500.
Wait a minute.
By the way, that's for shoes to go with the suit that you beat us all and won.
Now, wait a minute. I was not consulted. No constituents were notified.
You're going to get $500.
Is that binding, Tom?
It is binding. I will pull out 5 C notes and hand them to you here so you can get fabulous shoes to go with the
Ferragamo
suit.
shoes with your
Okay,
suit.
can I say one
Yeah,
thing
of
though?
course.
Yeah.
Like I'm at 7. Where am I? 700 and something.
You know what Tom just said? Tom said ever since we announced the 500, he's done more than you have done.
Yeah. Can I say something to my
You're
constituents?
at 734.
Hey guys, we're not out. It's not just a race between them. If I get to it, I can win this damn
course you
thing
can.
too.
Of course you can.
Hey guys, Manectors, let's come on.
What's your price right now? You're at $20.
I'm dropping it right now.
I can help your business. I can help your startup. I can help your financing. I can help you a lot of
I'll
ways.
make you
and
laugh.
if you
I'll
do
make you
that,
not want to do drugs.
I can help Vinny.
Vinny, so you're a charity case now, apparently, according to Tom.
No, I wasn't.
Did he even let you know that this was the thing?
I wasn't.
Are you guys
aware.
working in cahoots? Or
By the
did you
way,
just do
when is your birthday? When is your birthday?
February
Charity
4th.
is
Okay, so check this out.
My
Let me-
birthday is this weekend.
Let me say this
By
as
the way,
well.
big party this weekend.
I'm a
Let me
Vinny
say this as well.
supporter.
We'll talk about that. So let me say this to you. If you're a supporter of Adam, okay, if you're not a supporter of Adam, if some of you guys connected everybody and you told everybody you're a supporter of them, okay, you're like supporting everybody.
No.
Adam's birthday's coming up. Connect with him. Wish him a happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
And have a conversation with him. And you're doing a bunch of calls. A bunch of calls are setting up
That's the
50
best
50-minute
part
calls.
of
And
the
Tom's
calls.
doing a bunch of 50-minute calls on Saturdays. Anyways,
Can I say one more thing?
20
Tom,
seconds before we
Tom,
go into a story.
I appreciate you, buddy. Your family reached out. Apparently, you haven't seen your family in weeks. All you've been doing is doing Manex.
Wow, Tom.
Like, you're a family man. You're a Christian. You're a good man. I didn't realize you're Canadian. I'm an American, born in America. You're
My
born
left
in
arm's
Canada.
Canadian.
I didn't
my
realize
dad's
that you're
grandparent.
a Trudeau fan. But your family misses you, Tom.
We are not
I
Trudeau
get that
fans.
you've lowered your prices. You're literally treating
Adam,
Vinny like
let's
a charity
go.
case.
Okay, so if you want to
Vinny,
connect with any
all
of
you're
these
getting
guys,
is my
race
friendship.
to
That's all I
1,000.
want.
Race to
We had a prep
1,000.
meeting where we
You
talked
guys
about just
decide who you want to
ending.
get to. Let's go into the stories. All right, let's go into the stories. Taylor Swift, okay? I want to start off with the first story. Taylor Swift searches apparently blocked by X following AI nudes. And this is a story that a lot of people are concerned about. She's even thinking about suing. So Twitter X blocked search results for Taylor Swift and related terms like Taylor Swift Nude and Taylor Swift AI after pornographic AI-generated images of the singer flooded the platform. Benign search still yields results. The White House has expressed concern over the proliferation of these images, urging Congress to consider legislative action. Press Rec Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre emphasized the need for social media companies to enforce their rules against the spread of misinformation and non-consensual explicit imagery. New York Congressman Joe Morrell is using the Swift image incident to advocate for a bill that would criminalize the non-consensual search, sharing of digital altered explicit images. While social media platforms attempted to remove the original image, the new fake image surfaced, potentially complicating enforcement efforts. Rob, is there any of the pictures that's not nude that we can show? Like, is there anything you can't show?
Yes, they're
Maybe
available.
show the one with her and Trump that you showed us yesterday. Is that nude or is that not nude? Not nude. So can we show that or no?
Yes.
All right, let's see this one here that you got. So before we go to the back, okay, first of all, Tom, I'll come to you until Rob finds it. Tom, what's your reaction? Like, look at that one right there, okay?
That's a great couple.
They look happy.
Look at that picture right there. Can you zoom in a little bit so we can see that? Is that the same people that are doing it?
That's a winning campaign right there.
Now, why is everybody in the back Indian? That's my concern. But
'Cause the guy that
so
made it
maybe
was
that's like
never
the
going to-
awards in India. So, Tom,
Malaysia.
what are your thoughts on this with these AI news that's taking place? And by the way, you have 2 daughters. This is happening to a lot of girls in high schools. Tom, thoughts?
Well, the first element is, yeah, we're talking about Taylor Swift and Trump and all these things like this, haha, and oh, now is X and other people going to censor? What do you do? The social medias are going to have enforcement response groups when law enforcement comes out and says, hey, this person is a victim of cyberbullying. These images are fakes. They're going to have to. The burden's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on X, and it's going to be on Insta. When law enforcement comes down and says we have an active cyberbullying case here, this has to come down. It's not just going to be about. And by the way, it can influence political campaigns. It could influence celebrities. It's a picture like this. This is ludicrous. We know that not ludicrous rapper,
That
but
is
it's
a-
like ridiculous, and we all know that that's not real. It looks
full
real.
name.
It's incredible Photoshop, but it is not real. But you're going to have response. The social media companies are going to have to respond because law enforcement are going to come down one day with things like this. And we already have girls that are subject to cyberbullying that commit suicide. And, there's a big thing here with the quality of the deepfakes.
Yeah, this is the new reality. We just saw that the World Economic Forum in Davos, what they list as their top concern for the world.
After 2024, misinformation or 2024
Misinformation and disinformation.
Yes.
There's a couple other points.
Yes.
We just saw what happened in the shakeup with ChatGPT and Sam Altman and the ins and outs and the whatever and all the confusion and the chaos that was happening in the AI world. What's happening is not going to stop because Photoshop, I mean, this is not new. This is not some new anomaly. AI has just made Photoshop on steroids basically more prevalent out there. But we're going to see this time and time again in 2024 during the time of the election. We're going to see Trump and Obama making out. We're going to see Biden doing all stuff. Like anything you could possibly think of is going to be out there. And you're never going to tell the difference.
By the way, I'm with you. But the question is, here's a question. It's a real question. Should it be illegal? Should people go to jail for it? Should people get a misdemeanor or a felony for it? Should people be fined for it? How should kids under the age of 18 who are very good at doing this, how should they be treated? A lot of people that are making deep fakes live in another country. They don't live by the laws that you live by. So what are you going to do to me? If the guy lives in India, it's like, I don't care. Come try to arrest me. You can't do nothing to me. I'm going to do all of this as much as I can. There's so many different things to it. And I have my thoughts towards this, but I want to know how you guys feel about it. Vinny, yourself.
Well, first, my thing is, let's go back to who. Because, again, I'm always taking a step back. Like you say, follow the money, Adam. Who's this AI stuff, this fake deeps? I've been seeing a bunch of them. Trump, a year ago. It's Taylor Swift. And think about this. She's going to be used to manufacture consent of the regulation of AI technology because, which is redefined by the Obama. Obama just met with Biden about this type of situation. Notice how they're using her to be like, oh, by the way, that's America's sweetheart. You can't show her. So if Congress decides to take legislative action over the AI images, which they're doing, bro, you can't even search her right now on X or anything for those images, the bad ones. Karine Jean-Pierre said, we can expect lawmakers to smuggle, that's not a good word, smuggle in provisions to regulate social media, possibly with loopholes that will enable politicians to censor political content. So they're going to use her and be like, oh, we can't, not Taylor Swift. And then once this legislation comes out bad, they're going to put in there, they're trying to control what Nikki Haley was talking about, the algorithm. They got to stop this algorithm of fake stories and fake BS. And dude, what purpose? And we're going to get into how much they're using. Taylor Swift this year is going to be one of the most.
Rob, can you pull up what I just sent you here? Yeah. So this is an article I want to read to you guys. I want to see purely regulation-wise. Students are sharing AI-generated fakes of nudes of classmates, and there's no U.S. federal law to stop them. Okay, this is just a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Go down, Rob, to 2.5 months ago. Go down a little bit more to the stats. If you can go, right there. Right there, and then we'll go to the state. Zoom in a little bit, and I'll read this. So here we go. This is stats. 290%. How much fake nudes have ballooned since 2018 on the top 10 websites that host AI-generated porn photos? The WAPO reported, citing industry analyst Genevieve O. 290. Okay, 143,000 AI-generated porn videos added in 2023 across the 40 most popular website for fake videos, a figure that surpasses all new such videos from 2016 to 2022. That more in 1 year than 7 years combined. 4.2 billion views is what it generated. 52% increase in deepfakes pornographic videos uploaded to websites. 90 to 95% share of deepfake videos are non-consensual porn involving women, according to Sensity AI, a company that has tracked online deepfake videos on December 18. 26,800 U.S. victims of sextortion campaigns that this year through September, according to FBI, that's a 149% increase compared to 2019. And then these are the laws with states, okay? Non-exhaustive list of U.S. states where distributing AI-generated nude is a crime. California. The Golden State has allowed people to sue anyone who puts their image in a pornographic deep fake video. Under proposed legislation, the creation, intentional distribution, and exhibition of pornographic deepfakes would be criminalized. That's California. Virginia got it right. Under its revenge porn law, which bans spreading nude images of video with the intent to coerce, harass, or intimidate another person, Virginia covers deepfakes. Breaking the law could result in a 12-month prison sentence. Damn. And $2,500 in fines. Minnesota, a new law enacted in July makes it a crime to use deepfakes to influence an election or to disseminate sexual images without the subject consent, punishment, 3 years in prison, $5,000 in fine. And then I'll read the last one and come to you. New York. The state last month officially made it illegal to disseminate AI-generated explicit images or deepfakes of a person without their consent, resulting in a year in jail and $1,000 in fine. Interesting. Adam.
So we're talking about government stepping in and basically doing something about it.
So there's nothing federal right now. There's only state.
But what we know about government is they are not moving fast. They are moving slow. Who moves fast is tech, big tech. So you hear that the new, the Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella, says, we need to move fast on this. The problem with government, the problem with Congress is, A, they're dysfunctional as hell. What the hell are they going to do? And if they do anything, it's going to take 6, 12, 24 months. Plus, there's an election. There's going to be all sorts of shifting going on there. Tech needs to step up and do this. ChatGPT, OpenAI needs to step up and do this. This is on them because Congress is going to move way too slow on this. Tech is moving 100 miles per hour. Congress is moving 2 miles per hour. Plus, you ever seen Congress try to debate crypto? And crypto is...
They have no idea what they're talking about.
Well, you know, and Bitcoin and blockchain and like, they have no clue. Mitch McConnell's giving a speech on blockchain.
Yeah.
Zero clue. Big tech is the people that need to be responsible for this. Government is going to move way too slow. They have no clue what's going on. They're going to drop the ball completely.
And this is the early stages. You guys realize what's going to happen in 5 years? You're not going to be able... People are going to be going to court to try to prove, like, that is not me. Imagine in 5 years what this is going to be. There's going to be videos, and they're going to be, by the time you disseminate, oh, that's not Trump doing X, Y, Z. People already made up their minds. You know what I mean?
So Adam brings up something about tech. So let's just follow this really quick. All you have to do is follow the money, and we'll take the easy one. Internationally created porn videos of celebrities. There's all sorts of sites out there. We've read about all of them that say, oh, I've got the early porn video that, you know, some starlet did when she was only 18. And, you know, it's BS. So as long as there's demand for people around the world to see that porn for $10 or whatever they pay, then there's going to be international deep fakes of celebrities trying to make a buck on it because there's big business. Now, in the U.S., when the states make it a penalty, the tech has to respond. And Adam's got a point here. Tech is going to get subpoenaed. So when the state of California subpoenas tech to say, hey, you have to take this stuff down, we've got an open case here, tech is going to have to take it down. And guess what? It doesn't matter whether it's fake or not. Tech will take it down because your daughter will be in something. And by the way, these laws here are for revenge porn and deep fakes. So if your daughter, whether it's real or not, or your son, whether it's real or not, is being circulated, you go to law enforcement says, Facebook, take it down. They're going to have all the systems in place to go find it, identify it, and take it down. And they've got facial recognition. They have a lot of things they could work with and tools. So tech is going to have to build a whole library of tools to push a button and take it down. But the deterrent to distribute anything is what's important. And you saw Minnesota and Virginia actually have really strong laws now for any revenge porn, deep fake or not. And that's where the deterrent has to come from. Somebody bullying your kid, they get hit.
The biggest concern that I would have is we all remember a time when there was actually real stuff that was put out there. Kim Kardashian, she became famous for a sex tape. Paris Hilton, Hulk Hogan was part of the Gawker, whatever that was going on with that. Pamela Anderson, that was probably the most famous leaked sex tape of all time. The difference is that was actually real. Yeah. This is all fake.
Yeah.
None of this is real. As much as we want to see Taylor Swift sitting at Trump's lap having fun, it's not real. You know how Trump put out the fake news. This is all fake misinformation, disinformation.
But you know what this does to me is a part of it, like if you're trying to hurt elections, yeah, that's a concern. But to me, this is not going to go away.
Correct.
I'm telling you, because how are you going to hold somebody? Have you guys seen this recent movie that came out, Beekeepers? Have you guys seen Beekeeper?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
What'd you think about it?
I think it was. I'm not a Jason Statham fan, but it's
the story of it.
It was good.
The premise that the woman killed herself because of what happened with him, right? I think that is the real concern that we're going to get into. The fear of them using you, holding you hostage to destroy your life and steal money from you. That's a crime.
Yep.
All this other stuff, it's like, okay, so what are you going to do with Babylon Bee? Their stories are fake. Mm-hmm. It's a satire. It's intentionally fake. Right. Is that now going to be a crime? So to me, it's a slippery slope on what happens here. It's like the moment you get out there, you're going to be like, well, I don't want people to write negative things about me. Well, then don't be a celebrity. They won't write anything about you. Part of being a celebrity is people going to say bad things about you. By the way, the next story I want to get into is this whole thing with Big Pharma being at crossroads, and J&J, Merck, and others are preparing to lose billions of dollars. But before we get into this story, let's go to our sponsors first. Go ahead, Rob. So look, I've been in the financial industry since 9/11, the day before 9/11, and I've owned stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate, crypto, gold, you name it, I've owned it. But the one thing that's very important part of my portfolio all these years is gold. I love having a percentage of my net worth in gold that I have access to in case of many different things. That's why we chose to work with our new sponsor, American Hartford Gold. If you have retirement funds that you cannot afford to lose, American Hartford Gold will ship physical gold or silver directly to your door. Also, if you have retirement funds that you can't afford to lose, now is the time to call American Hartford Gold, a precious metal dealer you can trust. They have the finest products, amazing customer service, and a buyback commitment. They've earned a 5-star rating from thousands of reviews and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Tell them I sent you, and they'll send you up to $5,000 worth of free silver on your first order. So click on the link in the description or call 866-939-6984. Again, 866-939-6984. Okay, so Big Pharma at a crossroad as J&J, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, and others prepare to lose heap of revenue from blockbuster drugs. CNBC story. So these companies, including Bristol Myers Squibb, Merck, Johnson & Johnson, face a significant threat to their revenue as blockbuster drug face patent expirations, ready with an estimated $180 billion in sales at risk for the top 20 big pharma companies between now and 2028, according to EY estimates. These patent cliffs are a concern for pharmaceutical firms, requiring them to find new drugs to sustain and grow sales. The impact varies depending on the drug's contribution to total sales, and some drugs may also be subject to Medicare drug price negotiations, further threatening revenues. Companies like Merck, Bristol Myers, and others are strategically addressing these challenges through acquisitions, pipeline development, and patent extensions. That last one is the tricky one because that's why they need lobbyists. Tom, thoughts on the story?
You absolutely found the most important two words in the story. Patent extensions. Who covered this? CNBC. This story is part of CNBC has been out there practically as a lobbyist for these because they're talking about risk to long-term stock price. And CNBC is talking about this. Oh, long-term valuation play? Is this a long-term value? Are they going to be this? That's what's going on here. Pharma companies are out there lobbying for these stories to be out there in the business media because they are out there trying to lobby for patent extensions. And they're doing it. And I looked up last night. I was trying to find out where the lobbying for patent extensions has been in the current election cycle.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to find senators that were taking money from certain pharmas specifically on patent extensions. I was trying to connect those dots. I couldn't find anything quickly last night. But ladies and gentlemen, those are the kind of dots to connect. This is how it works. And also, I found a small clip that there is leverage being used with, and look at what happened to Disney with Mickey Mouse. They just recently had a, remember Steamboat Willie or whatever the film was? That, it could happen to all of us. And we work so hard to build these things, and that belongs to us. And, it was our drug and we invented it. How would you like it if you invented a lawnmower and they came away and took away your ability to make money? That is exactly the arguments being made here. Never mind, you have to go to the front end of this and you look at the gouging and the costs that's on these things, and you look at the ridiculous profits, the excessive profits. I'm a capitalist. I'm saying excessive profits that Big Pharma foists on all of us. So Crimea River, Big Pharma, this has been the law. You know what it is. This hasn't been sprung on anybody. After so many years, drugs go generic. Those drugs are available at lower costs for Medicare recipients and other people, and that's the way it works. But they're out there working with CNBC and others to lobby in their favor. What a surprise! And for patent extensions.
What's the biggest drug? Like, did they list what are the drugs? I mean, this is good news for the people, right? So the people that are spending a crap load of money on drugs, at least they're going to get a discount coming up in these upcoming years. What are they? Merck treatments, melanoma, head, neck, lung, and all that type of stuff. Bristol Myers is
like
blood thinners.
Eliquis.
Dude, that looks like stuff that people need, bro. For cancers and shit.
Yeah, Eliquis is an important blood thinner. If you've ever heard, my dad's taking this drug and he can't have broccoli or vitamin K since his heart attack. That's Eliquis, and it actually prevents strokes after heart attacks. It's a good drug. Now that good drug, when I say it's a good drug, it's a proven long-term drug.
It works.
Now, that will maybe be in generic at a lot less, less expensive.
Great for the God, and God bless them, and God pray for them. The people that have cancer and
they're
stuff.
still selling it, guys. They're still selling it. It's just now they have to compete with generic.
Good.
The challenge with this industry, big pharma, is the way CNBC is talking. CNBC knows this article could have been changed in a different way. Here's how this article could have been written. Big pharma is at crossroads as J&J, Merck, and others are preparing heap of revenue from blockbuster drug deal, right? It could have said, CNBC is deeply concerned as big pharma could potentially lose $180 billion, of which they'll use 10% in advertisement for mainstream media companies.
Yeah.
That's the real article that should have been written, right? Yeah. Not the way it's written right now, because that money, these big pharmaceutical companies have to flow through them. So you know who's most concerned with this? The big mainstream media companies are sitting around saying, guys, we got to help these guys.
Of course.
This can't continue. Yeah. So the way they win is changing the patent laws. A senator and I think congressman, can you text Brandon about the senator and congressman that lowered the patent law to 14 years, about 30 years ago? They're like 20 years, a very long time. Because guess what? Whatever the company is, you come out with a new drug, and you're the one that has the patent on it, go make a bunch of money. Mm-hmm. You got 5 years, you got 7 years, you got 10 years. So they increased it to 20 years. These guys are like, dude, that's not fair. Let's lower it to 14 years. They lowered it to 14 years for a few years. And then what happened immediately, less than 10 years later? They brought it back up to 20 years. And by the way, in many instances, these pharmaceutical companies, they hire the right lawyers and lobbyists, and they come in and they're able to get an additional 18-year extension on top. That's the one. On top, can you zoom in a little bit? Is this 1980? What year is this? Yeah, so the name for its lead sponsors are Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat, okay, see where he's at, and then Representative Lamar Smith, Republican. So you got one that is from Texas, the other one that's from where? Vermont?
Yes.
I think it's Vermont. These guys decreased it, I want to say, from 20 years to 14 years, and then later on they increased it back to 20 years. And now they're adding extensions to it. This is very, very scary for these guys at their board meeting, but this is very, very good for consumers who can't afford some of these drugs.
Well, I remember when you did the town hall with Vivek, this is something you've been following for quite some time now, what's going on with the lobbying issue and everything that's going on with Big Pharma. Look, we all see what's going on at the border. The only thing that's more complicated than the border is healthcare in America these days. And then obviously Big Pharma is a major extension of that. But when you asked Vivek that question, you actually showed a image during the town hall you did with him a couple months ago.
Yep.
And you asked about like the 10-year drop off. That was that whole situation. Mm-hmm. What do you recall of what Vivek responded to that?
With which one?
That question that you asked him about the patent pending and everything that to Vivek.
Are you trying to make a point? Or
no, I'm asking you.
No.
You're the one that interviewed Vivek.
I think the way he put it, his business model on how he built this company, sometimes he would buy things out of patent and time it well, or things that maybe didn't get approved. It's a very complex situation on how he built his business, what he did. But there's a part of it, I don't remember exactly what he said, but there's a part of it where I understand recognizing the company that created it. You ought to get credit for that. And the credit should be, you should have a monopoly on the drug for a number of years, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this drug.
Correct.
Go for it. But then the question becomes, is that 5 years? Is that 7 years?
Right.
Is that 10 years? Is that 20 years? What is it? My idea would be, at first, you can have it for 5 or 7 years. Then you can give it to competitors, and you lower it by a certain percentage, your price point. And then, after a number of years, it's released to public. It's generic. Anybody else can sell it for whatever price point.
I remember the image that you showed. There was a steep drop-off after year 10, I want to say.
Massive.
It was like $100, and then it went down to like $2 after 10 years.
Rob, do you have any of those, the drugs that lose price after patent expires? If you just type that up, a bunch will come up. By the way, the number on how much they lose
is
crazy. In some cases is 95%.
Oh, my God.
95% on how much they lose value once a pharmaceutical company, the cliff, it's called the patent cliff.
Yeah.
The patent cliff on drugs is massive. So here's your margins, whatever you got. A year after the patent expires, 51%. 2 years, 57%. 3 years, 66%. Look what happens after 6th year. The drug is 77% cheaper, okay? In some cases, 95% cheaper. And by the way, we're talking about you sell a drug for $1,000, 95% is what? $50.
Wow.
It's a big difference in some of these prices. But you know there's a drug that you pay annually $3.2 million.
What is it?
Rob, can you Google most expensive drugs in America?
Wasn't it one of them, the guy, what was that guy, Martin
Shkreli?
Top 10 right there. Look at
Is
this.
it for cancer, Pat?
No, zoom in. Look at this. Hemgenics, $3.5 million per
hemophilia.
one-time dose.
What?
Per one-time dose is $3.5 million.
What?
For hemophilia.
But one time, though.
Interesting.
One time.
What?
time.
And
Are these the most expensive
These
drugs?
are the most expensive drugs.
What else we got
$3.2
here?
million. Okay.
For muscle dystrophy?
For muscular
Muscular dystrophy.
Yes. What
Okay.
else is
Third
there?
one. Skysona,
Skysona.
$3 million per one time.
I can't even say cerebral adrenal
For cerebral-
leukodystrophy.
Yeah.
Wow,
Right.
wow, that was intense. My head hurts.
Next one. Zintaglo, $2.8 million.
Beta
Right?
thalassemia.
And now,
Who's affording this? What is happening?
Rich
here?
people that you never
the-
hear about. The average person's dead.
Those first three there are also life changes. If you take a look at those, that's not like allergies.
No, it's-
those are one-time or two-time doses that are, if it works for that patient, that's major life change or a life extension.
Oh yeah, because think about
I obviously, if you're paying $3 million, it's not like helping
Adam,
you
the
cure
One of
average-
them's for kids
so the
4 to 5
average
years
person,
old with
you're
a terrible,
dead, or you're
terrible genetic.
You're suffering forever unless you could spend $3.2 million for one dose. Oh my God.
yeah,
That's
and this
crazy.
is the patent cliff that we were talking about. Look at this patent cliff,
Yeah.
Vinny.
After
That's
10
how
years.
it works.
After 10
Yeah,
years.
international, look at the drop,
This is what I
and then
remember.
U.S., look at the drop. By the way, one of them went from $12 billion in 2007. Okay, look at that year, 2006, and it drops all the way down to what? Nothing.
Zero. Oh my God.
Nothing. Like it's the amount of margins for it becomes small. So it's really a patent issue problem they're having in this industry. And if any president or politician wants to really address this, there's the one thing no one wants to talk about, and it's the patent law. That's where all this starts. If you touch that, great. If you don't, it's going to continue happening because they can do it. Next. So this next story is kind of interesting. So the Trump Carroll judge was mentor to Eugene lawyer, conflict of interest appeal expected. I'll read this to you, and then I'm going to show you a clip, which is kind of weird, on how this lady reacts and how Rachel Maddow celebrates, which I understand her being happy because, you know, Rachel Maddow is not the biggest fan of Trump, but the reaction is slightly concerning. So here's a relationship between her and the judge. Donald Trump's legal team is set to use a previously undisclosed conflict of interest as grounds for appealing a recent verdict that orders the former president to pay Eugene Carroll $83.3 million. Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, told the New York Post she was previously unaware that Manhattan's federal judge, Louis Kaplan, who presided over the case, worked with Robert Kaplan, Carroll's attorney, at the Paul Weiss, Rifkin, Wharton, and Gerson law firm in the early 90s. Habba says neither the judge nor Robert Kaplan revealed this professional history. It was never disclosed. It's insane and so incestuous, Habba said, asserting the non-disclosed counts as an ethics violation. Early in her career, Roberta worked as an associate at the firm during the same period as Judge Kaplan, was a partner until his 1994 appointment to the federal bench by then President Bill Clinton. 15 facts that people don't know about Eugene Carroll. Number one, Bergdorf Goodman has no surveillance video of the alleged incident. That's one. Two, there are 0 witnesses to alleged sexual attack. 3, Carroll first came forward conveniently with the allegations while promoting her book, What Do We Need Men For, in 2019. 4, Carroll was unable to remember when his alleged attack even occurred. She told her lawyer in 2023, this question, the when, the date, has been something I've been constantly trying to pin down. It's pretty strange to say that in 2023. The Donna Karan blazer dress she claims to have worn during the alleged incident was not even available at the time of her claims.
Whoops.
6, she never came forward with these allegations over the years, despite constantly being open about sexuality, posting things that they were very sexual in nature on social media, many of which Trump has shared. 7, She said she was never raped, telling the New York Times podcast, The Daily, every woman gets to choose her word. Every woman gets to choose how she describes it. This is my way of saying it. This is my word. The word is my fight. My word is not the victim word. I have not been raped. She continues, I have something that has not been done to me. I fought. That's the thing. She named her cat Vagina. Wow. Out of all the names, you can name her cat.
So did I.
Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow us to put it in there out of all the things. It's kind of weird. You name your cat Vagina. Joe Tacopina, an attorney for Trump, pointed out in May 2023 that Carroll's entire story has an incredible similarities to 2012 episode of Law & Order, Special Victims Unit. In that episode titled Theater and Tricks, an individual talks about a rape fantasy in Bergdorf Goodman's The Same department store where Carroll claims the incident took place. 10, speaking of shows, Carroll loved Trump's show, The Apprentice. I was a big fan of the show, very impressed by it, she said. 11, Carroll made a joke, Associate Sex and Bergdorf Goodman in a November 1993 edition of Ellie, which was before the alleged Trump attack took place. 12, Carroll is finally backed by anti-Trump Democrat mega donor Reid Hoffman, who has openly admitted to visiting convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's private island. 13,
Whoopsie. Democrat
Party activists back her as well. Instead of cameras, okay, we can skip this one. 14, the lawsuit was only able to proceed after Democrat created the Adult Supervisor Act of 2022. And 15, Carroll once said, most people think of rape as sexy. She said that to, obviously, Anderson Cooper. But watch this here. When Rachel Maddow asks the question, what are you going to do with the money? A little weird here. Watch this.
You've talked about using some of Trump's money that you're about to get to help shore up women's rights. Do you know what that might be, what that might look like?
Yes, Rachel. Yes.
Tell me.
I had such great ideas for all the good I'm going to do with this money. First thing, Rachel, you and I are going to go shopping. We're going to get completely new wardrobes, new shoes, motorcycle for Crowley, new fishing rod for Robbie.
Look at the lawyers, how uncomfortable they are.
It's yours, Rachel. Penthouse.
Look at Rachel, you freaking
France?
shill.
You want France?
Look
you
at
want
her.
to go fishing in France? No?
Fake laugh.
All right.
Look at that. Yeah,
That's a
awkward. Looks like Blinken when Biden talks.
If me fishing in France
that's enough.
could do something for women's rights, I would take the hit. I would obviously.
You can pause. That's a little weird, right? Tom, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, guess what? I made a statement on this podcast 3 shows ago, Pat, and I said, no one is paying attention. The media has its day with the headline. Trump is not going to pay this. He's never going to pay this. This number 83 is not going to change hands. Here's what's going to happen. There are so many elements in here. And if you look deep enough, you're finding that the rationale for appeal in this case is legendary. The number of causes, legitimate causes for appeal, the excessiveness of the award, the conflict of interest between the judge not disclosing, oh yeah, we were at the same law firm and actually I had responsibility to kind of mentor her. Whoops, sorry, I didn't bring that up. All of these are legitimate causes to come forth under appeal to do one of 3 things: demute the verdict, dismiss the verdict, or actually remand it for retrial, and to basically put them in a position where they have to work this again. Now, that's the lowest probability possible, but what we're looking at here is all the appellate things. Usually what happens, you're going to go to appeal, and this thing's going to get reduced mightily, and there will be some agreement. She doesn't have a nickel, and she's not getting a nickel, and I hope she's got a savings account. I hope Reid Hoffman has given her more money because she's got to fund the appeal process, and the appeal process is going to be legendary in this case. This is huge. The Dems and the liberals seem to think that you can try a case in the media and get a headline out of it, and that's where you finish it. No, there's a due process and the appellate process, and it's about to get long.
But the goal, great point, Tom, the goal of what all this is, with what they're doing in Georgia, with all these cases with
headlines.
Trump, it's freaking headlines, and the average person, Tom, isn't doing what we're doing. They're not doing what you're doing, Tom, where you're up at night doing all this research. All they know right now is he raped her, he in a room, and he has to pay $83 million, which he's not going to pay any of it. But listen to the conflict of interest, okay? The judge, remember that picture of that crazy judge that you guys showed? He was a mentor for the attorney, the one that you just saw, Carroll, Roberta Kaplan, which has no relation to the judge. In the 90s, he worked with Carroll's attorney, but they never disclosed it. That guy. That's called a conflict of interest. It shouldn't even be able to go this far. That's going to have this whole case thrown out. And then you see that video.
Undisclosed is the issue.
Undisclosed. You have to show it. And then, like, guys, think about it. And I looked this up too. It's all a ploy. It's all election interference. The same lady that's prosecuting Trump in Fulton County, Georgia. What's her name? Fannie Willis. You know what she's subpoenaed for right now? Investigation? Corruption. So it's hilarious how once you realize their game, accuse the enemy of what you're guilty of yourself. That's all we keep seeing. This is all a sham. But going back to, is it going to work, Pat? Is this going to work for the average voter that's sitting there going, that doesn't see it like how we see? The moment they see him, they're going to go, nope, rape the girl in a store, in a dressing room, and that's it, bro. That's what this is.
I think it's going to work for the people that are never going to vote for Trump anyways. But for people that are the 12% of America, they're going to be like, what are you doing? Because the girl, E. Jean Carroll, makes the average person who has common sense and the ability to reason. You know what the average person says that actually is part of the 12% camp with the ability to reason. Those are the people that run America, by the way. You know what they say? You think I'm stupid? Hey, Rachel, why do you insult me like this? Don't patronize me. This woman is full of it. Anderson Cooper, you think we're dumb? You're just trying to find a reason to hurt this guy. They may even say, I don't even like this candidate, Donald. Let's just say they say that, right? But I don't like what you're doing to him. And that's manipulation. Yep. The 12% of America that has the ability to reason and has common sense. I'm not talking the ones that are going to vote Republican no matter what. I'm not talking about the side that's going to vote Democrat no matter what. I'm talking about the 12% in the middle that's kind of like saying, yeah, look, man, I don't like what you're doing here. I'm not with it. You think we're dumb. We're not dumb. You're making me want to vote for him even more. And they're flipping people. The more they do this, the more flipping people to Trump. That's what they're doing.
The polls show it's not working.
I actually fully agree with what you're saying. Things like this make an average person be like, dude, I don't like what they're doing to this guy, because I'm putting it in the same category as what they did to Tate, what they did to Russell Brand, what Amber Heard tried to do to Johnny Depp. The biggest divide in this country at this point, I have some stats to show you, is no longer between Republicans, Democrats, blacks and whites, identity politics. It's no longer race, religion. It's genuinely gender. And there's this patriarchy, feminism movement going on right there that is dividing America. If you look at these stats right here, it's very clear the stark divide that's happening right now, Democrats versus Republicans. So this is gender by marital status, okay? Married men, almost 60% to 40% Republicans. So if you're a married man, you're more likely to be Republican.
60%, got you.
Okay, if you're a married woman, you're also more likely to be Republican. If you're an unmarried man, just a single dude,
that's me.
You're more likely to be Republican. And that has shifted. Here's the biggest stark example. If you're an unmarried woman, the Chelsea Handler types, 68% likely to be Democrat. So this deep divide that we're talking about right now, and it's sort of like the best image of it is 4 women on camera on MSNBC laughing at Trump being accused of these crimes. Yep. We're going to go fishing.
Yeah.
It's like, as a dude, you have to look and be like, yeah, even if I'm not the biggest Trump fan myself, you have to look and be like, this is all a sham. This is all bullshit.
How many of these 4 are married, by the way? Is Rachel Maddow married? I don't
Rachel
know.
Maddow is a lesbian.
Okay, great. E. Jean Carroll's married? Is E. Jean Carroll married or is she single?
No, but she's dating her cat vagina.
Okay, those 2 girls right there, are they married, the lawyers?
I have no clue.
They're just getting, you look at the ring finger. She doesn't have a ring finger, the lady to the left, right?
So these are women.
So these are part of the statistics.
These are women who hate men. Their whole agenda is to bring down the patriarchy.
Rob, can you play the clip to see if the lady on the right is married? Just turn off the audio because we don't want to hear the voice. Just I want to hear the hands moving.
Single women, 70%.
See if there's anything with that hand on the right moving. No, the lawyer's locked in. I don't even know if those are okay. That one finger moved.
But when I saw the movie Barbie, and I didn't see it because I like Barbie, I wanted to see from a cultural phenomenon what was happening right there.
Tell the
they
truth.
mentioned
You really
it's awesome. I'm a big Margot Robbie fan ever since Wolf of Wall Street.
What else?
But they mentioned the word patriarchy 12 times. Patriarchy.
Oh,
we got to bring down the patriarchy.
Go back.
Did she left? Nope.
Pause. Is that a ring?
I don't know. That's a booger, though.
It's definitely a snot.
All right,
snot
so-
rocket.
But the point is, the starkest divide that we're seeing in the country right now is between men and women, and they want to basically deepen this divide. And Trump, is there any more clear example of the patriarchy than the billionaire Playboy model dating president of the United States?
But it goes deep to me. But it's the people like her. Like, that's the problem. It's the Rachel Maddow. Besides her, besides the lawyer, besides the mainstream media, Rachel Maddow, along with Joy Reid, your favorite hairstyle having girl, it's just the amount of like soullessness that they have, that they could do this and laugh and berate and hope. Like, because I just sent Rob a clip of Rachel Maddow is one of those people, Patrick, that just is completely full of crap, and then they flip. They flip everything. We don't have to show right now, but I sent him a clip of her completely lying over and over and over, and then she flips at the end talking about Trump and stuff. It's the same thing with Joy Reid. They're all the same. Can we show this, Matt? Look, play this. Look how much full of shit she is. This is her in 2007.
The bottom line of this dossier, the bottom line allegation, the point of it is that the Trump campaign didn't just benefit from Russia interfering in our presidential campaign. The point of this is they colluded, they helped, they were in on it. This is kind of a real story. The connections between the Trump servers and the Alpha Bank servers were real. They were covert communications that someone was trying to hide, that the Trump organization and Alpha Bank appear to have been trying to hide.
Lie. False.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Lie. Hold on. Lie.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere
They
else.
become a carrier, you idiot.
And now ready?
It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
Watch. They don't want to give Trump airtime.
We and other news organizations have generally stopped giving an unfiltered live platform to remarks by former President Trump. It is not out of spite. It is not a decision that we relish. It is a decision that we regularly revisit. And honestly, earnestly, it is not an easy decision.
By the way, you can pause it right there. You know what never lies? Here's what never lies. Results don't lie. How's MSNBC doing? Honestly, Tom, how is MSNBC doing? You can say whatever you want, Rachel. There's this thing that they call data, stats, numbers. Does it favor you with that smug look on your face? If it does, you're right. It doesn't. Your numbers suck. It's so bad that to make it nice, didn't she go down, Rob, to only doing her show once a week instead of 5 days a week? Isn't that what happened to her? She went down to doing once a week?
I thought they almost got rid of her.
I think they only do it once a week or once a month instead of the regularly 5 days a week.
And you see, but mind you, though, now that
MSNBC was in the face of data, in the face of ratings, in the face of ad revenue, in the face of when they don't have an election year or a war, the news organizations financially suffer if you don't have an election, a war, or a massive presidential controversy. So they were looking for money, and they're looking in the couch cushions to see if there's a couple coins in there. And they revamped the contracts of many of the talent. And supposedly, in response to the revamp, Maddow says, well, if you're not going to do this, and I'm not going to do that. And she ended up on a reduced schedule.
But it just
this is to Pat's point. This is in response to data, and it's not a growing, thriving, financially, rocket ship. They're responding to real data and real dollars that they don't have.
But it just bothers me as a human being. She can't be stupid, bro. That you are lying to us. You are giving us misinformation. You're making people hate each other. And you're the problem. When Trump said that, like Jim Acosta and CNN, the enemy of the people, you're lying to the people to make us hate each other.
And it's not working.
It ain't working.
No.
I just don't like it, though.
You're not going to like it. That's the job of what they got. They're going to keep doing it. But Rachel Maddow will switch to weekly show under new MSNBC contract.
Why is it a new contract? Because the old one wasn't profitable.
Yeah, listen, here's the best part about capitalism, man. Capitalism is the best. It doesn't lie. Yesterday, Chris and I were talking, Cuomo, and he said something about politicians. And I shared a tweet. I said, you tweet this, I'm going to share it right now. He said, politicians are the only people we pay to do nothing. Politicians are the only people we pay to do nothing. You know what happens in capitalism? If you pay people that do nothing, guess what happens? You know
You
what
go out of business.
Not only you go out of business, you get fired. Okay? You get fired, the market exposes you, you're done. Period. There is no ifs and buts about it, right? You're done. Capitalism is exposing Rachel Maddow. The system she trashes, that she's not the biggest fan of, okay, is getting her to get her show to go weekly. And by the way, it's not like she's old. How old is Rachel Maddow? She looks
40.
She looks very good.
I would say 40.
I mean, I'm not even hating on her. I think she looks very young and good. At 50 years old, you go on a weekly. You know what that means? What basketball player retires young? The ones that are no longer good and nobody wants to sign a contract to them. Okay. What person on TV stops doing shows and goes to weekly? Those who are no longer bringing money to the company. No one as big of a name. She's been the face of MSNBC for how many years? Guess what? You're moving on to being, yeah. So anyways, let's move on to the next story. She's getting a little too many minutes here. We got to go to the next story. Okay, next story here. I'll go to the paycheck situation here. Workers are paying to get their paychecks early. It's payday lending on steroids, one expert says. And again, buy now, pay later. Then it's this one here. Millions of American workers are using earned wage access. It's called EWA programs, allowing them to access a portion of their pay before payday, often for a fee. These programs have gained popularity due to their benefits, including quick access to funds for emergencies. According to the latest data from Datos Insights, in the employer-sponsored market alone, $9.5 billion in wages was accessed early during the 2020s, tripled from $3.2 billion in 2018. The number of transactions was increased threefold over that period to 55.8 million transactions from 18.6 million people. That means about a third of those, it's just the same people coming back to it. While some see these programs as helpful, experts warn that overuse and high fees, which can translate into interest rate of up to 400%
What?
PBD.
That's a joke.
Wow.
Yes.
400% can lead to financial harm. The industry rapid growth has raised concerns about it becoming akin to payday lending on steroids.
Dude, this is something that I feel very strongly about. I did a video across the street. You know, there's a place called Amscott.
Yep.
I walked in there because I've been shouting from the rooftops for years about this business model. You know, I'm always saying FTM, follow the money. This business model, I don't even know how it's legal. Okay? This business model is predatory and it is lethal for the consumer. I talk about something called the C's of debt. Everything starts with a C, whether it's credit cards, whether it's cars, whether it's colleges, whether it's consumer loans, whether it's cribs, AKA mortgages. Nothing is as bad as cash advances, AKA payday loans. The whole premise of debt. You know, they say there's good debt, there's bad debt. Well, I say debt inherently is bad. You're losing the interest rate game. How much are you paying for your money? 400%. Credit cards are not allowed to
What are
charge.
you eating?
Sorry, it's a mint. Credit cards are not allowed to charge more than what, 25%? How do these guys get away with charging 200, 300, 400% on your money? If you want to invest your money in the stock market,
Yeah.
do you know what a good rate of return is? If you're, hey, S&P did 10% this year, this past year it did 25%.
So this is the calculation.
Imagine digging
you show
your
this
hole.
here.
Yes.
So let's just say you got $300 borrowed, 14-day terms, okay, $33 is the finance charges. Annual percentage comes down to 287%. That's how it's done. So, but to a person, they're like, dude, I'll pay the $33. But to this business, they're like, dude, you know what kind of return we're making?
Ridiculous.
No one in Wall Street's making the kind of return we're making. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, the increase of this, I first of all, if you haven't seen that video from Adam, you should go watch it. It's a brilliant breakdown. And the other part of this, the headline, by the way, it's the CNBC finally puts the truth in a headline. It's payday lending on steroids. It is. It's terrible. What it's saying is that Americans are facing cash flow pinches. The Main Street is the market was up, and there was a big year for the S&P last year. Market's all-time high, but Main Street is in trouble. The amount of debt they have is in trouble, and now we're seeing data showing that this is showing a cash flow problem. They need the $300 before they get their paycheck. When? Next week, not next year. They're trying to get the paycheck next week. week, and they got a cash flow problem. Main Street is pinched and in deep trouble, and these are predatory because they make it seem so easy, so convenient. They're selling ease, convenient, and speed and access. We're on every corner. Every corner in what neighborhood? It is. It's absolutely predatory, and it shows that there's a group of Americans on Main Street that are pinched.
Yeah, and here's the biggest problem. Well, we all heard the stats that 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. It's almost like drugs. Once you get started on this thing,
It's over.
and you're just working at your job, it's not like you're making more money. You're hooked. You're going to come back next paycheck, and you're going to come back next paycheck. And you say things like, well, it's only $30.
Because you made the next paycheck smaller.
Exactly. It's only $30. It's only $50. And they got you, bro. You're in their spider web. You ain't getting out. It's very, very scary and predatory.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, this is when you got to sit there and kind of weigh in your habits and what you're doing that's helping you and hurting you. And some of these habits that people get hooked on is destroying people's lives. By the way, the only reason somebody has to do that is because they put themselves in a financial situation and a bind that's causing them to make desperate decisions. And these companies are simply sitting there saying, don't come to us, go to somebody else. It's like casinos. Right. What is the best commercial that one Harris Casino ran? You know, if you have a gambling problem and you come to Harris Casino and you're having a hard time, call this 1-800 number. We don't want you to lose all your money on Harris.
Yeah.
But if you do have a gambling problem, we want you to call. Yeah, okay. And you understand like how that kind of works? And then you call them. So, look, I think I have a gambling problem. What should I do? Well, how much money you got left in your credit card? $1,200. How much do you owe in debt? $50,000. Look, have you thought about putting that $1,200 on 23? It's Michael Jordan's number. But if you win, we can pay that off at one time. Why don't you go back? Again, it has to be your choice. Yeah. Why don't you go back and put it on 23? Mm-hmm. And if you win, for a small 5% fee, we'll take it from you, but at the same time, we'll celebrate. You'll be able to pay off your debt. What do you think about that?
We'll put you on the billboard with all the confetti.
And by the way, we'll give you a free hotel room in Vegas. We'll pay for your stay. Come on in. Have a great time.
You'd appreciate this just really fast. This is when I was going crazy and drinking. And I was in LA at Commerce Casino. I'm playing poker, okay? And I look on the wall, and I see the 1-800 gambling problem. And in front of the table, I go, I'm in a hand. And I go, can I just really fast? I call the number on speaker. Everybody's like shocked. The dealer's mad. And they go, you know, what's your problem? And I go, listen, I got pocket jacks. I think this guy might have kings. And there's a pause. And the lady goes, what the hell is your problem? I go, okay, you don't play poker. And I hung up on her.
Yeah,
that number, they're actually
hilarious. That is hilarious. Okay, let's go to the next story. Next story. Let's I'll go to the Super Bowl one at the end. I like that story, but we'll go to that at the end. Okay, so which one should we do? Let's go to Trump team reached out to RFK early on about serving as VP, wouldn't write it off. This is a New York Post story. Now, again, some people say this is true. Some people say it's not true, but let's read this. Individuals within Trump's circle made initial inquiries to RFK about the possibility of him serving as Trump's running mate in 2024 presidential campaign with expressions of interest coming right out of the box when Kennedy announced his candidacy in April 2023. One insider remarked, anything's possible. I wouldn't write it off by any means, although Kennedy, an independent candidate, has consistently rejected the idea. Donors have supported both Trump and Kennedy, acknowledged that the concept of drafting Kennedy as a running mate remains a topic of discussion within Trump circles, despite potential ideological differences. Steve Bannon, a former White House strategist for Trump, has endorsed the idea, suggesting that a Trump-Kennedy ticket could lead to a massive landslide. Very, very interesting. Same time, a day later, senior Trump campaign advisor rules out RFK joining as a VP. So top aide comes out a day later saying there's no way this is possible. Senior Trump advisor Chris Lasivita refuted that the campaign has ever reached out to Kennedy and closed the door on doing so in the future to be VP. This is 100% fake news. No one from the Trump campaign ever reached out, approached RFK, or ever will. One of the most liberal and radical environmentalists in the country. For all the fake news, update your stories, Lasivita said on X. Earlier that day, the Post reported that individuals close to Trump had reached out to Kennedy, who is now running as an independent candidate for president. And by the way, RFK comes out hinting that he may run as a libertarian. Adam, thoughts on the story?
This is 100% not real. This is 100% fake, and I don't use the word 100% lightly. He's nowhere on the top candidates list. You know, I'm all about Vegas, talking about when you're going to doing your betting in Vegas. Look at the Vegas odds. You want to pull them up, Rob? Here's who the leading candidate is for VP. Two of them are female. So Elise Stefanik, she's the one that became famous for basically
The Harvard one?
lashing out against the Harvard presidents. Exactly.
I love
Harvard, MIT, and Penn.
Exactly.
She's amazing.
And then my girl, Kristi Noem, who I think, and then our guy, Vivek, that's the top three. You got Sleepy Ben Carson out there. You got Tim Scott, that I don't think is going to be the guy.
Who's
you got
below
Nikki.
Hayden?
You got Sarah Huckabee, beautiful person. You got Carrie Lake, Tudor Nixon, not a name, and then Tucker. And then if you scroll down, look at these odds, by the way. Can you scroll down even more, Rob?
That's it.
You're going to have to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to see Robert
in.
N.F. Kennedy's name. It's like 8,000 to
Ted
1,
Cruz
something
is
like
on
that.
that.
Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah. Marco Rubio.
Oh, Mike
Ivanka
Pence is
Trump.
on that list.
Where's Pence?
Go up a little bit.
Hey, Doug!
Yeah.
There's Doug!
Rob, go up a little bit
go up
above
a little bit
Pence.
more, yeah.
Keep going up because there's more names. Keep going up. Keep going up. That's what you got to do.
No, okay, yeah.
So Carrie Lake,
Tucker Carlson, Tulsi
Gabbard,
Yep.
Ron
Mira,
DeSantis,
Just wait till you see where
Pence.
RFK is.
I can't accept gifts.
Pence, Candace Owens, Rubio, Ivanka, Glenn Youngkin.
Marjorie Taylor Greene would
There
be
is no
insane.
RFK.
So the point is, Mike Pence has a better chance of
There's
becoming the
RFK,
VP.
84,000.
Okay, gotcha.
That's a crazy bet.
Kanye West
Actually,
has a better chance. Exactly. Kanye West has a better chance.
And
Meaning,
Chris Christie.
yeah, just Chris
Easy.
Christie, whose whole campaign
Let's was Trump.
Fuck this guy. Has a better chance at RFK. So I get that it's fodder, and I great that it's have a conversation. And thank you for these news outlets that basically allowed us to have this conversation. FTM, y'all, follow the money. There's
You know what
no
you love?
chance
You
that
love-
RFK. Thanks, Tom. There's no chance that RFK is going to be the VP selection.
Go for it.
I thought you were rapping. I'm sorry about
No, Tom, do your thing, bro.
that. So, individuals.
anyway,
clo-
you can find me on. I'm on Manek.
He's on Manect, everybody.
Tom's Canadian.
Well, yo,
Just
Mike just
learned.
messaged me. That's a great bet. For RFK, a $100 bet, Mike, pays back what? $84,000 for your $100 bet. And that might be a bet you may have to make.
So we here at Harrah's Casino.
yeah, exactly.
You could
Keep
be out
scrolling
of
down,
debt
by the way.
and then some. So what I love about this story right there, Adam, let's dissect this.
Do it.
Who said it? The Post reported. This is where, ladies and gentlemen, this is where reputable publications or partly reputable publications literally just make up stories. Individuals close to Trump. This whole story is written paragraphs around individuals close to Trump.
This is the people are saying.
Reportedly reached out.
Allegedly.
There's nobody there. Individuals close to Trump. It could have been the bellman that he was walking by, and at that moment he was close to Trump.
Yeah.
Come on. This is an example. The fake news happens when they make stuff up. Publications just make it up, and that's what they hang it on. That simple statement is what keeps them legally out of court. Well, it was individuals close to Trump, and we don't reveal our
Oh, yeah.
sources.
Yeah. Whistleblowers or we have what?
With that being said, looking at the odds, Elise Stefanik, this is when we had that whole conversation. It's a congressperson in New York, but it's former, blah, 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 blah. She's the only person from New York on this list. Remember that conversation we had?
And Lee Zeldin is nowhere on that list.
Correct.
So, but that's the part. You know, the one thing that I called you on. Remember what I called you on? What I told you? I said the job of a great tight camp, is. It's very hard. This is why you don't let everybody in. You don't let everybody in. There's people that think they're in, but only the in people know who's in and who's not in. Okay. And the way you test some people to think if they're in or not is leak a little bit to them and see if it stays or not.
Got you.
And you don't leak them a level 1, tier 1 type of inside information. You leak them tier 4. And then if they leak a tier 4, 100% they're going to leak a tier 1. But then once you have identified who a tier 1 is, the tier 1 people's job is one thing. You know what they do for a living? Confuse everybody. That's your job. The job of a tier 1 advisor is to confuse anybody that's not a tier 1. Your job is to do that 24/7 in the most smoothest possible way. And the tier 1 people who are on the inside are doing a really good job confusing the shit out of America.
Because nobody knows.
That's exactly the job of a tier 1 advisor.
Brilliant.
That's exactly what a tier 1 advisor does. A lot of them think they're tier 1. They could be tier 2, tier 3. You still trust a tier 2.
Yeah.
But not like a tier 1. You still trust a tier 3, but not like a tier 1. You still trust a tier 4, but not like a tier 1. Everybody is like, yeah, I'm his boy. You know, Trump and I do this. And yeah, look at this. He texted me. Look at this. We call this. Great. You're part of a tier 4, tier 5. But a tier 1 is not going around showing text messages to Trump. Tier 1 doesn't do that.
Quiet.
Tier 1 doesn't go brag about how close they are to somebody. It's just, here's who we are. Advisor. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a very big difference between tier 1 and everybody.
By the way, Tom just told me what you guys were talking about, so he's a tier 4 for sure.
He made the announcement.
For sure.
Yeah. But for $100, Tom will tell you what's going on tier 1 on the next. No, that's a whole different story.
Help me beat Adam. I'll tell you anything.
Manect them for the secrets.
Imagine that would be the funniest thing.
$9.99 Manect.
Okay, let's go to the Iran situation here. So 3 U.S. troops killed by Iranian-backed drone strike in Jordan. Biden vows retaliation. And Biden vows retaliation. 3 American service members killed and more than 24 others wounded in drone attack in Jordan with Iranian-backed militias believed to be responsible. President Joe Biden vowed retaliation, saying, "Have no doubt we will hold all those responsible to account at a time in a manner our choosing." The attack marked our choosing. Okay. The attack marked the first time American troops had been directly targeted since the start of Israel-Hamas war in October. While the U.S. supported Israel against Hamas, it attempted to prevent the conflict from spreading further to the Middle East. Iranian-backed militias have carried out numerous attacks in the region in recent months, targeting U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria, as well as American ships and commercial vessels in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. So, and then, by the way, he gives this whole speech. Biden gives chilling nuclear warning over attacking Iran after kamikaze drone. Rob, if you can pull up that clip where Joy Reid accidentally says what she says at the end. It's a hot mic. I'll read this and then you prepare the video. Ex-UN weapons inspector David Albright warns against launching direct strikes on Iran, emphasizing the risk could lead Iran to believe building nuclear warheads is the best option. You certainly don't want to attack Iran now by any means, but you do need to retaliate. Certainly any retaliation should be directed to the group with a message to Iran: control your proxies. One of the reasons to do that is you don't want Iran to feel it's being backed into a corner where it feels that building nuclear weapon is its best way out. Iran has quite a nuclear weapons capability that they've put together over the last 20-something years. Albright sheds light on the capabilities of kamikaze drones used in the attack, stating they carry quite a bit of high explosive and they're pre-programmed to hit stationary targets. They can hit pretty precisely a military base, and highlighted that Iran could produce enough weapons-grade uranium for a nuclear weapon within a week. But watch this here. Here's Joy Reid. Fantastic here. If you can play this clip, please, go for it.
Over the weekend, President Biden said he's ready to take action if Congress is serious about solving the border issue.
If that bill were the law today, I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another fucking war.
Wow.
Go back, Rob. Go back 10 seconds and play it from like 9 seconds.
She about to
Play
say
from
Donald? Donald?
Watch this. No, she just flat out is against what's going on.
I'd shut down the border right now and fix it quickly. And Congress needs to get it done.
Starting another fucking war.
Joey, watch your language,
Joy. It's almost as if the Trump hair has made her into an anti-war Trump-like figure. And it's weird how, think about this. Remember I told you about soulless people like Rachel Maddow? Dude, that's not how they think. Yeah, Adam, it is to me because she's out here.
What you're saying is like what she says and how she lives are two different things. Is that what that's what you believe?
I believe.
You're not 100%. You believe that.
I believe that she can go on there, race baiting, country's racist, Trump is evil, this. But then guess what? Behind closed doors, you know what she's saying? These effers want to start a war. I'm anti this. So she's not really who you see when she's in front of the camera.
What do you think, Tom?
Not cool.
Mark, by the way, you think that's the same AI organization targeting Taylor Swift that's targeting saying those words, or was it really her saying it?
Look, I got nothing to say about
watch her come out and say the following. Imagine she comes out tomorrow and says, that's not me, it's AI.
Yeah, and that's going to be the problem with it, too.
Right. And, you know, I look at Joy Reid and I I don't care what she looks like. I just listen to what she says. I listen to her opinions. I see a person who's being completely manipulated by the media to present things on the mic, and then you're seeing the real person come out on the hot mic. So I think it shows that there's probably a lot of reporters out there cashing a paycheck, living in conflict in their heart and their mind because they're paid talking heads and they feel things underneath. I think there's a second thing, Hen. There's a bigger story. If you listen into that, our president just blamed Congress for his inability to close the border. If the law was there, I would close the border right now. Well, he has had the worst week Biden has had on border issues. He's got 26 now states saying, you don't care about the good of Americans that live in these states. We're going to support Texas and New Mexico and Arizona, by the way, they're in there too, for what's going on at the border. You went to your freaking Supreme Court to get the Supreme Court to say, the border, the little line of the border, now that's a jurisdiction of the federal people. Only they can put up walls. And then if that's your barbed wire, that's not federal barbed wire, they can cut it. That's all the Supreme Court said. And so Biden is putting politics on immigration way above the needs and the genuine situations that are happening to citizens of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas that are on the Mexican border. And then he has the gall, his speechwriters and his policymakers have the gall to prop him up this week and say, if there was a law right there, I would shut down the border right now. And I want Congress to work on it. He's blaming Congress. You see what he's doing? That's a bigger story that's in the middle of this. Look at it. It's ridiculous. You have the states having to marshal resources because it's not just a political statement. Those are refugees and migrants and illegal aliens coming across that are sick, that need services, that have nowhere to live, that are living in the street, that are human waste is in the street, have encampments and have crime. There's real things happening here. And all they're thinking about from Washington, hey, here come the voters, here come the voters.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the bigger thing is he just blamed Congress for the border problem.
Yeah, by the way, and I sent Rob a video of this new caravan of 8,000 people coming here. But what people don't realize is, number one, the president of the United States didn't address the country about this. People, our soldiers dying.
Let's stay on Iran.
Yeah,
let's stay on Iran.
I am right now. Blinken said, this is what people aren't realizing. Blinken speaking, not Biden. Yeah. And he said, we have not seen a situation as dangerous as the one that we are facing now across the region since 1973. This is getting us ready for another bigger conflict with Iran. And they're trying to be like, oh, no, dude, we're losing soldiers. We're at war.
Thank you, Vinny, for bringing it back to
that's what I'm saying.
Joy Reid is just a distraction. We know what's going on at the border right now, but let's stay focused on what is actually happening in the Middle East that could potentially turn into a war. There's a difference between a proxy war, there's a difference between a regional conflict, and there's, God forbid, the difference between a World War III. And I don't like using those terms ever. But Iran,
that's the problem,
is arguably the biggest problem in the world right now. China economically is a major problem, and China is basically funding Iran. We all know what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. That is regional at this point. But there's nothing spilling over because due to NATO, nothing spilling over between Russia and Ukraine into the rest of the world. Iran, everything that's going on with what I call the Triple H crew, Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah, they're all funded by Iran. You know, you've called 2024 what? Pat?
Chaos.
The year of chaos. Yeah. There's nobody sowing more chaos in the world than Iran. Okay? The difference between chaos is order. And what the order is trying to do, the United States, the EU, whether it's Israel, whether it's any Western or democracy of the world, is basically trying to have order and stability in the world. And you have people like the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea attacking ships, basically messing with people's money, cargo, everything that's going on with that. Now, Iran, let's not forget here, 3 U.S. soldiers were killed.
Yep.
Okay? Servicemen were killed by an Iranian proxy. Now, Iran has said, it wasn't us. Every single of these issues, whether it's the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea, whether it's Hezbollah north of Israel, whether it's Hamas, they all get their money from Iran. Every single one of them. Okay? And Iran needs to be dealt with one way or another. So the administration come out and said, basically, there's 3 ways to deal with Iran. Number 1, there's a direct strike on Iran. I think everybody's looking to avoid that. They're striking their proxies, one of the Triple H crew, or there's economic sanctions. We've seen what's happened to economic sanctions. There's ways to avoid them. Well, by the way, $6 billion they gave to Iran for hostages.
Come on.
Have we not realized you can't keep funding terrorist regimes? And there's no way of getting their mindset out of this. Why? Because in America, we have something called separation of church and state. Whatever your beliefs are, whatever your belief in God is, all good. You're not letting that infuse into all your politics. I get it. Some people, like our current Speaker of the House, infuses it. And people say, I don't know, it's a little separation. There is zero separation between mosque and state in Iran. It's a theocracy run by a mafia-like regime. And it's very scary, and we don't know what to do with it. And slowly but surely, they're continuing to build up their nuclear arsenal. We don't know what's going on there. We all remember what Obama did and funding that and $100 million. Then Trump came out and pulled out of that. Let's not forget, before October 7th, Saudi Arabia and Israel were how close to having a peace treaty?
Very close.
Very close. Iran looked at that and said, Iran and Saudi Arabia, this is the whole Sunni, Shia, everything that's going on there. They looked at that and they said, holy shit. Israel has already made peace with Egypt, with Jordan, with the UAE, with Bahrain, with whatever countries that are that. Now they're going for the big dog. Saudi Arabia, our mortal enemy across the Red Sea. And if we allow this to happen, we're screwed basically. Because they profit off of chaos. And if you're putting together peace treaties and order and alliances, Iran basically will be subjugated to nothing.
Well, watch this, though. This is what's interesting. This is a story that just came out. Rob, you put this on the addendum, right? Can you pull up the story real quick? So Russia and China, matter of fact, I think this came out today, this morning, if I'm not mistaken. Today's the 30th, yeah. Russia and China rush to defend ally Iran as U.S. prepares response. Yep. Okay, here we go. If those two get involved, it's a war amongst the world, which there's a name for it, right? When there's war amongst different countries in the world.
Weird.
So Russia and China have urged the U.S. to exercise restraint. Can you imagine Russia and China telling the U.S. to pump your brakes? Restraint in its response to killing of 3 American soldiers in a drone attack on a base in Jordan. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov stated, now is the time for steps to de-escalate tensions. Right. Wow. China's foreign minister spokesman Wang Wenbin said, we hope that all relevant parties will remain calm and restrained to avoid falling into a vicious cycle of retaliation and prevent further escalation. The United States, including President Joe Biden and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, has vowed to respond to the attack. Biden's spokesperson mentioned a very consequential response, even though the administration stressed it does not seek war with Iran over the strike. Potential options include attacking Iranian personnel in Syria or Iraq, as well as Iranian naval assets in Persian Gulf. Do you know who did this? Let me tell you who did this. Do you remember when Trump, they killed Qasem Soleimani?
Yeah.
Do you remember how Iran responded?
They shot like an
Empty base.
Exactly.
They shot down an empty base and bragged about it. Nobody was in that building when they shot it down. Do you know what it sounds like right now? It's flipped. U.S. is going to attack an empty place and not have anything be done. So U.S. officially is acting like Iran when they were trying to show strength by attacking somewhere that they knew no military personnel from U.S. was there. Why? Because they did not want Trump to do anything. Can you imagine that Russia and China are telling you to pump your brakes even though 3 of your people were killed and dozens were hurt? Hey, U.S., let us lecture you. We are Russia and China. We'd like to lecture you and talk to you like an older brother. Hey, Joe Biden and U.S., I don't think this is a good time to retaliate.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to kind of sit around and not do anything about it. It just doesn't behoove you to do that. I'm sorry, China and Russia. Who are you according to America? Well, wait a minute. Where were you, China, when this guy named Richard broke a deal and changed your economy while your people were poor? An American president changed your life, China. Hey, Russia, just so we get it straight here, an American president asked your leader, who eventually had conscience that was hurting him, saying, hey, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall And Gorbachev, because he could reason and he loved his people, saying, what the hell are we doing to our people? He actually listened. U.S. has led you, China. U.S. has led you, Russia. Who are you to tell U.S. what we ought to do? I'm sorry, you're not our advisors. You are not our advisors. So this is the part where, for me, I have a challenge that we are at a point right now where they're lecturing U.S. Who are you to lecture U.S., bro? Doesn't sit very well with me at all. This is probably the most annoying part of the story we read so far, because when you're a country that changed so many other countries' lives, and the people in those countries have a better life because of you, and you want to tell us what to do after 3 of our people got killed? Life doesn't work that way. You cross the line when you do something to our servicemen who put their lives on the line, whose wives and kids are behind. They're never going to see their husband again. They're never going to see their father again. They're never going to see their son, their brother again. You want to tell us to not do anything about it? Okay, bro. We don't share the same values. By the way, I have a very different position here. There's a camp that's saying we shouldn't attack. Okay, and some of those guys are, conservatives who are MAGA community, saying we shouldn't attack, we shouldn't start another war with Iran. The Rhino people, some of the neocons are saying what?
Go for it.
Go for it. Kill this, do this,
Kill
do that.
everybody.
You know what I like? Here's what I prefer. I don't even want you to think about doing that, because we put the fear in you So in your mind, you know what you say? If I do something, I know what they're going to do. So guess what? The best offense sometimes is,
defense.
The best defense is offense. But to me, it's actually the best defense is when you put the fear of death. Mm-hmm. I dare you to do something. Do something, see what happens. But if you don't, I promise you we will not have any problems. It's a very simple negotiation. Look, man, let me tell you why I'm here. I'm going to be the president next 4 years. I may get reelected for another 4 years, okay? I want to have a very simple conversation with you. I'd like us to be able to do business together. I know your number one priority is your country. It ought to be. Yeah. It should be China first. And Putin, I know your number one. By the way, I would have a meeting with the top 3 people, Putin, NG. We would have a location that we would all be comfortable talking to. We would break bread, and I would say, look, guys, let me just kind of straight up tell you guys where you're at. You've been around the block for a lot longer than I have. I'm a rookie president. I just got in, but I love America. And you've been around the block a lot longer than I have, because you're China, I'm U.S., right? Your number one priority is China. It should be, and I respect it. I fully understand it. Your number one priority is Russia. I fully accept it. That's a number one priority. My number one priority is America. We will continue to lead. I would like to have a good relationship with you guys, but let me make something very straight. The more you do proxy and you make our life a living hell and you make things challenging here with us, I'm going to do 10 times that to you. But guess what? If you don't do any of it and you have any issues, you call me directly, I'm going to talk to you. Anytime you can call me, I will pick up to talk to you. We will have a good relationship together. I would like to see us the next 8 years. We all prosper. You do your thing with your family. We do our thing. We try to lower the temperature worldwide. I'm a very easygoing guy. We shouldn't have any issues. But if you touch anybody in America, it'll be the worst day of your life if you do that. Is that clear?
I love it.
Can we have some nice tea and caviar here? Let's enjoy some sushi. Let's see. Let's talk. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your kids. I guarantee you that's not the approach our president's taken. And they sit there thinking this is a joke on what's going on in America. Yeah. Doesn't sit well with me when you choose to increase the temperature to U.S., the greatest country in the world. I don't fall for this kind of conversation on you sitting here lecturing us on what we ought to do. You don't get to tell America what to do. America changed your life, not the other way around. Can we go to the next story? You look like you want to say
I was just going to say, everything you're talking about was what Ronald Reagan coined peace through strength. Like, don't fuck with me unless you want, fuck around and find out.
We're very
exactly.
We've proven the system of capitalism works, and we've created jobs worldwide. We have saved so many different people's lives indirectly. Now, everyone's always going to go to what America's done bad to. But trust me, capitalism's changed a lot of people's lives in countries it never had anything to do with. Jobs created worldwide. It ain't the philosophies that America created that's hurting other natures. It's dumb people that come in that won war, that can't defend the greatest country in the world, that allows somebody to think you can come around and push America around. You can't do that to America. That doesn't sit well with me. I'm just a regular guy talking to you right now. I don't run office or anything.
This is going to be a continual story, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Pat.
Well, listen, We have to show strength.
Yes.
But unfortunately, we've been so weak the last 3 years that nobody fears America. Nobody fears America, and that doesn't sit well with
And I think Democrats have to reckon with that as well.
I think they are.
I think, like, I had dinner with a bunch of friends last week, Republican Democrats, and some were super, super left guys. And I said, where are you at right now? I said, would you consider voting for Trump 100%? And I go, dude, you were as anti-Trump as it gets 2016, 2020. Things are changing, especially amongst men. Yeah. Men are recognizing, yeah, bro, this soft, soft on the border, soft on crime, soft on war. Yeah. Exactly. Men are recognizing, despite everything you think about Trump, you need a strong leader in there.
Yeah.
Women are going to look at it totally differently.
Told you so.
So you have to give people grace to say, listen, I understand you looked at it in 2016. I understand 2020, but times are different. You look under Biden right now. War's around the corner.
Let's go to this next story. And by the way, this kind of goes with the whole story we're talking about. We got 27 more minutes. Maybe we may go a few more minutes on that because we got a lot of stories. We're making ground today with covering a lot of stories. Let me remind you, folks. Quick reminder. Again, between us starting the podcast and now, Tom has caught up a little bit.
What?
Yeah, I'm just telling you guys. Tom is now officially at 9:47. At the beginning, I think he was at 9:35. Oh, wow. He's at 9:47, and Adam's at 9:67, and Vinny's at 7:37.
7:37. Okay? Come on, my neck.
Adam is 33 away from being the first 2,000. Wow. Tom is 53 away.
Guys, it's my birthday this weekend. Yeah. Can we
By the way, Vinny needs new shoes, America. Vinny needs new shoes.
You're a charity case.
Can I tell you guys how to effectively use this app? I've had hundreds of conversations with people, life-changing type of conversations, business, life, finances. So many people that talk to Tom once, they come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So many people that connect with Vinny, they come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times. A guy on Sunday and we connected 6 times in Sunday. In Sunday, it was like boom, 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 boom. Full blown. He left a review saying, I cannot believe that I'm having a conversation with Pat on a Sunday and he's getting back to me. He did 6 minutes back to back to back to back. He has something he's dealing with that's a big policy issue that he's trying to work with politically in New Zealand, U.S. But we had back to back to back to back to back. It's a full-on conversation and allows me to get back to you on my terms because I'm living a life as well. So I'm like, okay, here I'm walking to the bathroom. Let me respond back to this guy. Here I'm getting the call. Let me respond back to this guy. Full-blown conversation. This app, the more you use it, you will realize how life-changing it is and how the expert giving feedback, it's making you, the expert, the influencer, better person, and it's giving you direction and certain answers that people need at whatever phase they're at. But having said that, Adam still got a 20-point lead on Tom. Let's see who's going to get to 1,000 today.
Heating up.
All right, let's get to the next story here. Man pretending. Actually, no, I'm going to go to the next story on Ukraine. So Ukraine, 5 Ukrainian officials arrested over theft of $40 million.
You don't say.
No, in war funds as Ukraine corruption persists. So what do you mean 5 Ukrainian officials got $40 million? Okay. So 5 Ukrainian officials have been arrested for allegedly embezzling nearly $40 million in funds designated for the purchase of military equipment for the war against Russia. The individuals are accused of conspiring with a Ukrainian armed firm to misappropriate the funds intended for acquiring 100,000 mortar shells. Ukraine's ongoing struggle with corruption has raised concerns, particularly regarding international aid. Some critics in the U.S. have questioned whether to provide more aid to Ukraine in light of these issues. Zelensky, the greatest campaigner beggar of all time, that's not the story, that's me putting it in there, who campaigned on an anti-graft platform, has faced challenges in addressing corruption. Despite this, Ukraine's officials' efforts to push back Russia's invasion have faced difficulties with limited successes in the counteroffensive primary and grain exports and actions against Russia's Black Sea fleet. This is when people realize when you send money. I had a guy calls me, says, Pat, this was very early on when we started giving money to Ukraine. Says, Pat, they're making a lot of money on the inside, a lot of military leaders. I'm like, dude, I'm not buying it. He says, I'm telling you, this guy was in over there, okay, sitting down with some of the top military leaders working with, Zelensky. He says, you have no idea how much money is being made right now, okay? You have no idea how much money is being made right now. And, you get some of these stories that sent to you through Signal, through WhatsApp and all this stuff. Yeah, you take it for granted. Like, I don't. But that was month 1, month 2, month 3, okay? Now this comes out. 5 of these guys are getting arrested for using $40 million of funds that was used to buy military weapons. Tom, when you read a story like this, how do you process this?
Well, first of all, Nikki Haley's probably upset because, damn it, that money belonged to Boeing.
Yep.
Wow, what a point there.
That's exactly right. That money should have come back to Boeing. Well, first of all, I always look for false flags, and maybe I'm thinking too much about this. Is this really people trying to reach in and trying to find what's going on? Or is this taking, remember, how many billions have been sent over there with a big B? Billions, double-digit billions have been sent over there. And so we got 5 guys with 40 million. That's like saying I won the war on drug because I caught Snoop's cousin with 5 pounds of marijuana. Come on. I look at this and I think it's a drop of the bucket compared to the true corruption that's going on over there, Pat. This is a drop in the bucket. And I wonder if it's just like a little planted story, 5 guys getting arrested to take
By who, though? By who?
Who arrested them?
No, meaning who planted the story? Who would do it? Whose motive would it be to plant the story?
I think it'd be Zelensky's motive. Zelensky wants to call off the dogs because you've got half the Republican Party has woken up to the fact and think this guy is a beggar just taking the billions home, and it's an incredibly corrupt country. And there were CIA reports that said it was an incredibly corrupt country decades before the Russian invasion. And so what would be convenient for Zelensky? You know what? We got to bust some guys, and we got to make this thing look good.
Rob, can you look up who these 5 guys are, by the way?
Yeah. By the way,
see how high-ranking these military guys are. Go ahead.
And Tom, by the way, guys, this is 40 million. Kelly made this point yesterday that we know. This is what they reported. Can you imagine how much money has gone and God knows what they're doing? And by the way, just a little fun fact. Do you know who's going to be rebuilding Ukraine?
Yeah, BlackRock.
Yeah. Larry Fink with Zelensky. That's the whole goal. That's the whole. Let's keep sending money and let's keep supporting these people and keep wearing your flag on your shirt. That's what you're paying your money to.
That's why they call it the military-industrial complex. There's a lot of money in war.
It's complex.
And then there's the industrial part.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that. Look, if there's anybody that is upset about what's going on in the Middle East with Iran and the Houthis and the Hamas and everything like that, it's Volodymyr Zelensky right now.
Ukraine's Secret Service, so we're going to assume Zelensky knows about those guys.
Yeah.
Security Service.
Security Service.
Security Service, the Ukrainian arms firm, employees of a Ukrainian arms firm, because probably Ukraine's defense ministry officials, it doesn't say who it is, to embezzle the funds. Okay, so guess what? That's an awful lot of corruption. You got the employees who are corrupt, the defense ministry guys who are corrupt, and the Ukraine's SBU Security Service. The contract for shells was clinched with Live Arsenal in August.
By the way, you know what's going to happen? He'll come right back to Congress. They'll give him the red carpet. They'll be like, "You have to give me money," and they'll give him. Trust me, he'll just.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
If he came right now this week, they'd roll out the red carpet and they'd give him whatever he wants. It's never going to stop.
I don't know about
what I'm saying to you is, I think they will, but I think what is starting to happen is, it used to be. Everybody wore the Ukraine, what do you call it?
Pin.
By the way, did you see Jamie Dimon saying, "I'm not woke at all, I'm not this, I'm not that"? Maybe we'll go back to that. Rob, if you can prepare that clip, we'll go to that in a minute. How many people were you seeing Ukraine flags?
Everybody.
How many Ukraine Instagram posts did you see? How many Ukraine, I stand with Ukraine, the flags
100%.
everywhere? What's happened to all those flags?
They're gone, just like the
Why,
BLM
though?
and all that stuff. Yeah, it dies out.
But the point is, like, people are sitting there saying, look, man, maybe I supported something that these guys were a money job, and let's stop talking about it. So then the politicians, I see you, then the politicians will take it and they'll redirect with the story and say, okay, guys, we got to distract Americans because we cannot talk about Ukraine anymore. Throw a whole new different story so America can get over Ukraine and all the money we spend. Trust me, Americans have a short-term memory. They're like Finding Nemo. They'll forget about it and move on to the next thing. And that's what they're going through. They don't want another Zelensky at the house. If the left is smart, they won't have another Zelensky at the house because they're making themselves look like idiots. Strategically, it's the dumbest move if they allow Zelensky to come and raise money again. It's the same thing like Rachel Maddow and Gen Carroll thinking it's working. It's not. So I'm hoping they do it again.
Yeah.
I want them to do it. Go ahead and do it again. I dare you. Do it again. But if they're smart and strategic and not dumb and oblivious, they won't do it again.
I'm with you. I want pictures this election year. Bring him over to dinner. Have a state dinner.
That's right.
Do it again. Give me a timestamp of March 2024.
Yeah.
Let me use that.
I mean, to put it in sort of a weird metaphor. He's the ex-girlfriend that we forgot about. Everyone's focused on Gaza and Israel these days. God forbid there's something happens with China and Taiwan. Ukraine and Russia is the last on the list. In 2021, when does everything kind of get it started? 2022, it was all the top of mind. Everyone's wearing the pin. We saw Bill Clinton was wearing a pin, I think, recently.
I know.
We saw him.
Jamie Dimon was wearing
And a
Jeremy Diamond.
shirt.
Yeah.
So it's just not top of mind. And by the way, I'd like to get the EU's response on this because it didn't basically say whose money they stole. U.S.
it's
has
our
given money. The EU has given money. I
It's
don't know
us.
if whoever it
I
is,
have a
they
feeling
give
it's
money.
us.
But what they should have done, you remember when Biden hired, 20,000 IRS agents when he came into office? Go send some of those agents with guns, by the way. They were allowed to have guns. Go send them over to Ukraine. So it just goes to show that we have no clue what's going on there. What was the story a few months ago when they put an extra zero on a check? It was like $6 billion that went awry.
Yep. Well, then that's our money. That's our money.
Question for you: are you partying? What are you doing tonight? What plans you got tonight?
He's asking
Why,
you
is
seriously.
Zelensky in town? Why?
Asking, what are you doing tonight?
What are you doing tonight?
What you got? What you
Joe
got?
Biden's in town. Joe's going to be in Miami.
What? He's going to Miami? He probably doesn't even know where he
Joe
is.
Biden's going to be in Miami, so you may want to call him and say, "Look, man, JB, it's my birthday. Can we do something?"
Let me give him a
Send him
call.
a text real quick. He's going to be in town.
Joe?
I'm
Oh, he's
hanging
still
with a
asleep.
whole
My
bunch
bad.
of institutional investors down there. I wonder.
Is he actually in Miami?
Yeah, he's in Miami tonight.
He's in Miami.
Just so you know, he's in Miami tonight. So
He won't.
whatever
He
you
won't
do,
know he's in Miami, but he's going to be there.
He's going to be like that one. Come, hey, Detroit! Stop, Detroit! How you doing?
You're in Cincinnati.
No, in Cincinnati.
Oh, what a...
All right, let's
Warmer than I remember Detroit.
Let's do a couple other stories here. Let's go to a man pretending to be a trans woman raped a female prisoner at Rikers. Lawsuit says, and that follows with a stat for Gen Z. Okay, so parents, brace for impact. You may want to know what these stats are because they're trying to get your kids. Some people think. All right, here we go. A man pretending to be a trans woman raped a female prisoner at Rikers. Lawsuit, this is from Town Hall. A female inmate at a women's correctional facility in New York identified as Rose Doe. Not John Doe, Rose Doe.
Rose Doe.
Has filed a lawsuit alleging that a male inmate who claimed to be a transgender raped her. Rose Doe is suing 20 defendants, including the city of New York, accusing the jail staff of ignoring her warnings about the transgender inmate. According to the civil suit, the transgender inmate moved into the facility April 2nd of 2022, and rape occurred April 7th, 3 days later. The male inmate has allegedly stared at Doe and engaged in inappropriate behavior in the day before the rape. Rose Doe's attorney, Nicholas Liakis, pointed out that there was ample evidence of the male inmate potential danger. It's ridiculous that they're allowing this. I mean, that's obviously not her name, right? Rosa, they're trying to keep her privacy.
That's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, potential name, including disciplinary records with complaints of predatory behavior. Transgender inmates in women's prison have raised concerns about the safety of the female inmates in the past, with instances of sexual assault and manipulation within the prison system.
I just have one quick comment. It says, there was ample evidence of the male inmate's potential danger. His penis.
I mean, it doesn't get more simple
let's
than
just,
that.
what?
That's a weapon. Yeah. Yeah, and you're in a jail with, by the way, and what was he arrested for? And mind you, guys, can New York, just when you thought New York could just not do anything like more dumb, look at what they're doing. This is a New York, Riker, this is New York, bro. They're letting men, biological men that have not gone through the full transition to be in prison with women, and now it's rape. What are we even talking about?
Rob, what is that quote? Is that him saying it?
Yeah, that was him on the phone calls. He's talking to a friend, Pat,
I'm not gay.
talking how he don't want I'm not gay, I don't want no penis, quote. That's a quote, meaning I don't want to be in the men's, I don't want to be in the men's prison, and I don't want to get attacked and raped myself. So send me some workers meaning prostitutes over here, like a whole swap of workers, heterosexuals. He wanted to get into the woman's prison.
It's called gaming the system.
Yeah, but
I can identify as a woman. I'm a dude with a dick, and now I'm in the female prison.
And you know what?
And this is what happens.
And you know what? By the way, they're not going to change the regulation. This is going to keep happening. And where are all you feminists? Where are all you women that were screaming in the streets and fighting for women? Everybody's quiet. What happened to the feminist movement? Where are you?
It just shows.
Where are they?
Data proves everything, right? And then the data's coming out. People are getting attacked. And now what do they do with it? What do they do with it? What do all the woke politicians
Nothing.
and everybody that are trying to remember? Feeling-based decisions have incredible unintended consequences, and they make these decisions based on feelings. He feels he's a woman. He identifies with a woman.
Dude.
Let's do over here. Lexi Rose Crawford, The Independent. If you'll just, Rob, if you'll just do that, The Independent, Lexi Rose Crawford. Here is a picture of a guy who claimed to be a female who committed a rape in a bathroom, I believe.
Yeah.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. He
I'm
raped a girl.
I'm transgender.
Yeah, by the way.
He's claiming to be transgender. Is there any more guy than that? And by the way, there's my buttons proving how I feel. Okay, so guess what?
What did this guy do?
Is that the guy?
This guy claimed to be trans, and he raped a woman.
He went into a bathroom.
So all you have to do is grow your hair out
Transgender
long.
woman jailed for rape, now sent to a male prison where he can have as much sex as he wants.
What are we I mean, we talk about
Looking
this all
like
the
that,
time.
there's no transition. He just claimed it. And the British court said, well, if what you're... Okay, well, then we got to go with your feeling. You're a woman? Damn it, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. That's all he did. And the court sent him to the female prison in 3 days, Pat. He got there on April 3rd, and by April 7th, he had committed not one, but 2 rapes.
We're living in bizarro world
punishment
right
for
now.
him.
It's
Guess what?
ridiculous.
Punishment. We are going to make you a female. We are chopping off your penis. You raped a girl because you were trying to pretend that no, I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
Lop it off, bro. Him and the
Castration.
inmate. You're getting enough is enough, dude. How many more people have to get raped? By the way, and this guy, God forbid, he was in the bathroom with a young kid. But people are like, no, you're transphobic. No. This is happening more often. This isn't an isolated incident. This is ridiculous.
But this
what
is
are we
on
doing?
this is on the court system. This is on the systems to be like, no.
And if that happens,
you're going to a male prison.
And I don't know, if you had a kid,
where I don't care how you identify, you're a biological male. You're going to the male prison.
But look,
Can I ask you a question? If that happened, God forbid, I don't even like saying this out loud. If one of your kids had to, and this happened, and you can't do nothing to him because he's arrested and he's going to jail. What would you do? I'm going to the system. The people that are making these decisions, I'm going to go to jail because I'm going to do something crazy. Like, you're letting people go, a man looking like that, going to the bathroom with my daughter.
No,
what are
right.
we talking about? I don't
Vinny,
get
you're
it,
absolutely
Tom.
correct. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're
No,
trying
it's all good.
We're trying to move on, but I'll make the point here. Everyone, you're hearing a lot of outrage on this podcast right now, and there is a lot of outrage, but the outrage needs to start with you and your heart. You need to be at your PTA meetings. You need to be at your school board meetings. You need to be speaking up about this and to shout back and hit back and push back in the face of woke that wants to take the feelings of a person and make decisions that have the consequence of endangering your children. You've got to speak up. You have to go there. The tide is turning on DEI. The tide is turning on this woke stuff. Now is not the time to back down. It's election year, and now is the time to be at the city council meeting, be heard, be at the school board meeting, and point out the people, cover them on Facebook, talk about what you saw, and be part of the process. Don't stop the fight.
Yeah, and this leads me to the next story, which is a shocking survey. PJ Media, almost 1/3 of Gen Zs now identify as genderqueer. A recent survey reports that 28%, by the way, now it's up to 20, it used to be 21%, now it's 28% of Gen Z adults, 18 to 25, in the U.S. identify as LGBTQ, which is more than a 10-fold increase compared to older age groups. Contrast with 10% of all adults, 16% of millennials, 7% of Gen X, and only 4% of baby boomers and the silent generation. The findings align with Gallup's data, which also shows that Gen Z is the most LGBTQ plus identifying generation, with nearly 20% of those ages 19 to 26 identifying as LGBTQ. LGBTQ advocacy groups such as Human Rights Campaign emphasize the significance of LGBTQ plus visibility and its potential influence in elections as thousands of LGBTQ young people become eligible to vote each day. A third?
Yeah, because you know what? You know what they're showing kids in school, Rob? I just sent it to Rob. Patrick, it's a concerted effort, and their plan is working. They want people to have less kids. They want to sexualize these children. So when people like that come in the bathroom, this is a book called Let's Talk About It. Okay, it's available in middle school. It teaches kids how to masturbate, encourages watching porn. And look at. Can you zoom in on the photos, please? I know they're blacked out. That's in a middle school. They are showing this in a middle school.
The teens guide to sex relation with human beings.
Like, what are we talking about? There's sexual. What are we teaching kids?
Being a human, not being a boy or a girl or male or female.
What age is this?
Being a
middle
human.
school.
Middle school is what?
How old is
6
that?
to 8?
6th, 7th, 8th grade.
What are we talking about?
First of all, let me go lower a little bit. Let me see what else. Is it just guy and girl?
No, that's a guy and a guy.
Oh my God.
Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And then, and then they're fighting. And then, by the way, in these school board meetings, the people that are in charge are fighting so that the kid doesn't have to tell their parent. They don't have to report. The school doesn't have to tell the parents what they're doing in school. It's a plan. And what did you just say? 7% higher. It's working, Patrick. It's working.
You know what somebody said in the comment section? What? They said in one of the pictures, look at the guy and the guy.
Yeah.
They said P. Diddy got hot for Ben Shapiro.
Oh, Jesus.
Best comment.
By the way, they don't waste any time.
Rob, these comments.
They don't waste any time.
There's a couple things. There was an article out last week, I want to say, I think I maybe sent it to you, or maybe it was the Instagram link, that Gen Z in America is more likely to be LGBTQ than Republican. Think about that.
What?
Yeah, I think I sent you that. Do you have that? Gen Z in America is more likely to be, yeah, there it is. Gen Z is less religious.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday.
Okay, gotcha. You're more likely to be gay in America if you're Gen Z than you are to vote for a Republican. Think about that.
That's nuts.
Okay. There's also there's an article about you're talking about worldwide, because you think Gen Z in America, we got to think America's just getting gayer and fatter than ever. It's true, but we're not unique. You know, around the world, so I guess I thought it was closer to like 2%, 5%. I guess 10% of people identify as LGBTQ. This NBC News article, if you want to find global survey, 9% of adults identify as LGBTQ. You know what the number one country is that identifies as LGBTQ?
Huh.
Scroll down, you'll see.
Here we go.
Well, who is it?
Keep going down. I don't know if you find it. Yeah, if you keep going, you'll find it. Go down. There's a graph.
I love graphs.
Brazil. 15%. There it is. Brazil, 15%. Spain. So you talk about global. We talk about, globalization over here.
Self-identify.
Spain, 14%. Switzerland, 13%. Netherlands, 12%. Great Britain, 12%. Sweden, 11%. Germany, 11%. Colombia. United States, 10%. And then you can basically find if you scroll down, you see what the world average is right there. The average right there at 9%. But
hang on, go to the bottom.
Peru,
interesting. Why Peru or Japan? It's interesting, but
that's all cultural. I mean, I would expect maybe like a Muslim country.
Well, Middle East is going to be
a Muslim country where being gay and
it's 0% there. You'll be killed.
Yeah, exactly. It's a barrel of laughs. So it's like, but it's interesting. Peru, that's cultural.
Machu Picchu.
You see what I mean?
Yeah,
there's not like a.
Listen, here's the deal. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but 33% of Gen Z.
Yep.
When the world average is 9%.
Yeah, Jamaica's definitely low on that too. Jamaica, they don't play. They don't care.
All right, let's go to a couple. Steve Harvey and Snoop, who had something to say. So here's Snoop just recently. If you want to pull this up, Rob, Snoop Dogg praises Trump. Nothing but love and respect. A rapper and advocate for equity, Snoop Dogg has had a recent change of tune when it comes to former President Trump. In a new interview, Snoop Dogg, do you have the video or no, Rob? Can you pull it up to see if you have the video?
It's an article, so it was given to the Sunday Times.
Saying Trump's praises after a long history of condemning the former president and his supporters. Donald Trump, ? He ain't done nothing wrong to me. He's done only great things for me. He pardoned Michael Harris. So I have nothing but love and respect for Donald Trump. Michael Harris, an associate of Death Row Records, co-founder of Suge Knight, and the founder of the label's parent company, Godfather Entertainment, was pardoned in 2021 as one of Trump's final decisions before leaving office.
Gangster.
Snoop Dogg was famously signed by the label only to leave later in his career. He quit it in 2022. And Harris was imprisoned on charges of conspiracy and attempted murder for over those 3 decades. Snoop Dogg praised Trump at the time of his commutation of Harris. By the way, didn't he end up buying Death Row Records?
I think he did.
Snoop ended up buying Death Row Records. And then at the same time, Steve Harvey comes out and says the following. I don't know if you have this clip or not, Rob. If you don't have it, all good. If you do have it, just play it. How long ago is this, by the way, this clip? Can you see how long ago this clip was?
So this is pre-2016. This is 7 years ago.
Pre when he ran.
Yes.
When Steve Harvey. So we don't need to play this clip. But this was when he said this. But for Snoop to say that, what do you think? What do you think's going on for Snoop to say? And by the way, how many followers does Snoop have on Instagram? I know it's a big number.
That is huge.
Let me see this here. Snoop on Insta must have 85 million followers on Instagram. 85 million followers on Instagram. How much of an impact does this have for Snoop to say this?
It's huge, and this is random that you're talking about this. It's absolutely huge. Just like when the Biden grabbed what's her face, Cardi B. Remember those interviews? And she's like, "Mr. Biden, like whatever." And then she flipped once now. A couple months ago, what was Adam? She's like, "The taxes and the war." She's losing her absolute mind. But that's huge. The block that he represents is huge. It's millions. It's millions of people.
Do you think it's that big of a deal?
I think so.
I was talking to a couple guys who are in the sports and entertainment business, and we had a call 2 days ago, and we had a call yesterday, and I brought the story up, and the conversation was about, hey, what can African Americans do because they've been owned by the left, the Democrats, to vote, God knows what percentage ever since 1964, Barry Goldwater and all this stuff. In 1960, it was only 64% of African Americans voting. Almost every African American friend I had in the military, when I would meet their mom or grandma, they were all Bible, God-fearing conservatives who talked to me like I'm their kid, and we were afraid of them. Do you know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, and it was almost like a super, faithful, not what you're seeing today. So I think deep down inside in the roots, I think the African-American community, they're very much a God-fearing, again, generations. Things have changed today on what it is. But for me, for Snoop to do this, you think other people are sitting there saying, wow, why would Snoop say something like this about Trump?
1,000%.
Maybe he's right. Because he's like in the Godfather community of rappers, right?
Yep.
Would you consider him as one of the OG guys, right?
100%. 100%.
Rap's not my thing, but looking at a case study of the music, he is one of the Mount Rushmore of the genre and of music business.
Yeah, I think influence-wise he is. As a rapper, I don't know if they would put him on a Mount Rushmore. I think different names would be there. But you're right. Influence-wise, for sure. He's generational on what he's been through. And some of the songs that he's made.
And Ice Cube is in the same boat. What do you mean?
Big deal?
I think, look, one thing I've learned about Snoop is for sale, man. I think Snoop is just about the. This has nothing to do with politics.
Okay.
A month ago, we covered a story about Snoop quit smoking.
Oh, yeah. But he was pitching a.
Thanks, Tom. A month ago, we covered this whole thing. And we're like, and I said point blank, I go, this is bullshit.
I know you called it.
I said, this dude made his entire brand about smoking, and now he came out and he said he stopped smoking. I gave up smoke. And what was he doing? It was a pitch commercial for a smokeless grill.
Yeah. Which was
Doug, you're willing to throw your whole brand in the garbage to basically make a couple bucks doing a burger flipping grill. Stop it.
It's more than a couple bucks, but this is a completely different situation.
Point. He will sell out for the money.
But in this case, listen, things have to be getting so bad, like for you, monetarily, he lives in California, for you to say, I'm going for Trump. And guys, let's not forget, this is the season. This is the year. And I don't know if you're going to talk about it, Pat. The Taylor Swift, remember with the AIs and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce? Listen, I could genuinely care less about either one of them, but let's be honest.
But by the way, let me read that story and let's go into it. Let's wrap up with this. We'll make that the last story. Taylor Swift could sway 2024 election outcome. New poll finds a poll conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies for Newsweek reveals that Taylor Swift's endorsement could sway the votes of a significant portion of America.
Bless you.
Bless you. See, he's allergic to bullshit.
Significant portion of Americans, with 18% saying they're more likely to support a candidate endorsed by the pop star. This influence is particularly pronounced amongst voters under 35, and with the addition of 41 million Gen Z voters in this election, her impact is expected to be significant. However, 17% of respondents stated that they would be less likely to vote for a candidate backed by Swift, potentially posing a challenge for Democrat Joe Biden. About 55% of those polled polled, claimed to be neutral and not swayed either way by her endorsement. Vinny, thoughts on this?
Well, okay, and I'll say it again. I can literally genuinely care less about her or Travis Kelce and their obviously staged relationship, but it's to push agendas, okay? He's pushing an experimental potion on the youth, and Taylor is telling her brainwashed Swifties to vote for the corrupt Democrat Party. That's when I have a problem. People are like, oh, you're just hating on her. No, I can care less. God bless her. Do your own thing. But besides all the tactics that the left uses to cheat, including this open border with the illegals, she's another weapon in their arsenal. Because, by the way, let's not forget who she is. Rob, she hasn't said it yet, but in 2020, because it's coming for her, I sent you this on in Slack. This is what she said about Trump. After stoking the fires of white supremacy and racism your entire presidency, you have the nerve to feign moral superiority before threatening violence. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. We will vote you out in November. She is such an influential guys, and you just said it, a fifth of the voters are going to go for it. And that poll was conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies that 18% are likely to vote for her if she opens her mouth and says it. And then, by the way, guess who owns her? In 2019, Rob, I sent you this clip. This is, by the way, she calls out George Soros for buying all of her music. Do you show this, Rob?
I had the chance to purchase my music outright. My entire catalog was sold to Scooter Braun's Ithaca Holdings in a deal that I'm told was funded by the Soros family, 23 Capital, and the Carlyle Group.
Oh, so she admits Soros is one of the owners, all right? Then the headlines in the mainstream media are focusing on her and Travis, and now the headlines are stating that she can sway an election. This is another way. Guys, George Soros, that just decrepit, evil dude, he has his hands in everything with election, with paying for these the pro-Palestine, the protests and everything. This guy is embedded in our stuff, and they're going to use her. It's coming. She's going to say Trump is the racist guy again, and those people vote exactly what she says, and she is going to make a change.
Tom.
So the reason you don't see more politicians looking for full, loud, vocal endorsements from celebrities is because celebrities, the analysis of celebrity endorsements shows that there is a not equal, but there is an opposite side that actually hurts you. That for every celebrity you have, you've got people that actually pull back or maybe don't agree or are offended with that. Obama's campaign figured out, and they did it right, and you can read about David Axelrod and a guy named David Poloff that did it. They realized that you trust me, you trust Adam, you trust Rob, you trust Pat, your circle of friends. So in social media, when the Obama campaign influenced influencers, not mega influencers, just to get the circle of us talking, that moves voters' hearts because we start talking about our issues. Even if we're vacuous 15-year-old girls with no brain, we talk about what few and little tiny issues matter to us, and we don't worry about taxes, don't understand that. Whereas large celebrity endorsements can help, but there's usually an equal, not equal and opposite reaction like physics, but there's usually now a negative side of it that goes along with that too. And celebrities have an incredible habit of ending up on the pages of tabloids that you don't want to be associated with because opposition research and opposition ads now are going to use that. So, you know, Taylor Swift has a lot of power and a lot of influence. Huge. And do I think she can move some of this? Yeah, I do. But do I think she's going to move the election? No, because if she could do that, she'd have $3 billion in her pocket, and that would be.
She's on the Eras Tour's made billion. Tom, she is. By the way, and what's his name? Shannon Sharp just had Ocho Cinco, and they were like, by the way, she
made that money. She made.
No, I understand that, but look who's behind her, Tom, and like it's all they prop. She, by the way, she's always been famous. Have you noticed in this past year, 2 years, she has skyrocketed to where people are like, dude, Beyonce, Shannon Sharp was like, Beyonce doesn't move the needle like Taylor Swift. This is a purposeful fake relationship. If you don't see what's happening, dude, think about it. Her boyfriend is pushing vaccines, and she's
for $10 million.
Yeah, you know what she's gonna say? 20 million?
20.
She's basically brought how many viewers to the NFL? And it's only a matter of give it a month, give it 2 months. When the election is going full gear, Trump is racist. He's a white supremacist. If you love me, I'm Taylor Swift. Don't vote for that guy. Vote for whoever the left has, and that's it. Period.
The Super
It's
Bowl
not
is in 2
zero.
weeks, and who's playing in the Super Bowl?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
And guess what? I guarantee
She'll
you,
be there,
when the Kansas City Chiefs win and the confetti's coming, they're going to kiss. He's probably going to get his 9th booster. They're going to get, kiss. They'll be broken up in a year. Mark my words, 1 year they'll be done. But that's neither here nor there.
There's a huge influence
If he was
here.
smart, he'd have a baby with her.
I would.
There's an influence, but
Yeah.
it's not what everybody thinks. And that's why celebrities... That's why you don't have celebrities getting phone calls like Carrie Lake did. Otherwise, they would be like, hey, Pat, $3 billion. There's people.
You see,
They'll write a
you know
check to
Vivek
put the money
tweeted
where
at
the
them
mouth.
too, right?
You know what I mean, Pat?
At who?
Well, Vivek tweeted something yesterday about this fake
I saw
relationship.
that.
You saw that?
I saw that,
It's
yeah.
funny. It's obvious.
I saw that. I mean, look, we're going to see every 4 years, everybody wants the endorsement of a person to say, oh, if we get Oprah Winfrey's endorsement, oh, if we get this
Then it's
person's
over.
Remember The Rock?
And even they wanted Michael Jordan's endorsement. Remember, in The Last Dance, Barack Obama talked about how disappointed he was with Michael, and Michael wouldn't give endorsement.
Yeah.
Michael's like, nah, I'm good, man. I'm not. His mom's like, you may want to consider showing up to this, campaign for this such and such. No, I'm not going to be there, Ma. You're not going to show up? I think you ought to. I'm not showing up. I was very disappointed when Michael didn't show up to that. And we talked about it. This is what Barack Obama was talking about. Tom makes a very good point. If I also know you're endorsed by a certain candidate or certain celebrity, it may also be a turnoff to me. And it may backfire. But we'll see. I think a lot of people are saying she's going to do something like that. I think it's no surprise when she does, but we'll see what happened there. By the way, tomorrow, Tom and I will be sitting down. Tom, Rob, is that confirmed for tomorrow?
That would be Thursday.
But isn't there something today?
Flying out tomorrow is
Ryan Garcia, and then Thursday is Trevor Bauer.
Okay, got it. Thursday
Friday
is
home
Trevor
team.
Bauer,
Yes,
and
sir.
then tomorrow's Ryan Garcia, the boxer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna have an interesting conversation with him. I think this is the first sit down he's doing since some of the challenges since some of the challenges with De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, a bunch of different things. We'll have the conversation. He reached out, and I'm looking forward to seeing. This should be a very, very interesting conversation with Ryan Garcia. The boxing world is a whole different thing that's going on. This guy's a young, good-looking, millions of followers. When he fights, people want to show up. He's got a diehard, loyal following. We'll have a good conversation with him. And Trevor Bauer, I think the MLB is making a mistake not offering him a contract. I really want to get to the bottom of this. Why is somebody who's a former Cy Young winner, who's young in his 30s, 32, 33 years old, how is this guy not getting a contract today? Because what? Because of a girl accusing him of something? We'll sit down and have a conversation. I think this is his first sit down he's doing long form to openly talk about what happened with him and how it hurt his baseball career. And we'll see how the MLB reacts to this. Take care, everybody. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye, bye-bye.